Today we're rebuilding the Philadelphia Eagles. Been a crazy offseason for the Philadelphia Eagles. We had retirements that were some expected, some unexpected. We've traded away premier pass rushers for pennies on the dollar. After an epic collapse last year, the Eagles revamped their roster building process this offseason, and they splash signed Saquon Barkley in free agency. And in the draft, they went out and got and were aggressively trying to acquire the top corners in the 2024 NFL Draft. Moves as fans we thought we'd never see them make. Now, with one of the best rosters in football, can we manage the salary cap and build this team into a dynasty over the next 10 seasons? And maybe we find a way to get a little help from a player who comes out of retirement. Let's take a look at the Philadelphia Eagles, as there were a lot of changes this offseason. As we highlighted in the intro, the great, legendary Jason Kelce has retired. And if you're not an Eagles fan, you should know that Jason Kelce essentially handpicked Cam Jurgens when the Eagles drafted him 2 years ago in the second round, third round, whatever round it was, to be a successor. He said, this guy looks and has a lot of traits that I think if you want to replace me when my time is up, go get him. As far as Madden is concerned, obviously not a particularly high ceiling, but hopefully we can develop him. We got Mailata and Dickerson just signed new contracts. Right guard was going to be an open positional battle, and then Philadelphia got Mekhi Becton on a one-year deal, with all reports saying that he's going to get a swing at developing into a right guard, a member of Jeff Stoutland University, the legendary Philadelphia Eagles offensive line coach, which is arguably the best of all time, undeniably the best in the league right now. So I wouldn't put it past Mekhi Becton. He's on a one-year deal. Maybe he earns himself a second contract. And, of course, we got my stunt double, Lane Johnson here, 96, superstar tackle, an absolute beast. Dallas Goedert's nice. They signed C.J. Uzomah to get a veteran at tight end. Devontae Smith got a bag this offseason, 88 superstar. A.J. Brown got a bag this offseason, now making him the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL, 96 superstar. And I'm going to tell you right now, I've seen enough things in the sim to put me into a little bit of a worry that we're not going to have an offense here. The Eagles do not have a sim offense that can facilitate a Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown from a standpoint of, keeping those dev traits, putting up big-time years. So that is something that I'll tell you right now. I have no ties to Nick Sirianni. I would have been able to live with the Eagles' decision if they ended up firing Nick Sirianni this offseason. So if we come in this year and neither one of these guys get 1,000 yards and Devontae Smith regresses down to a star and A.J. Brown regresses down to a superstar, I'll tell you right now, we'll be looking for a new offense. Because on top of that, we got Devontae Parker is what it is at this point in time in his career. We got some depth there. We got some depth at running back, but none more so than Saquon Barkley. Howie Roseman completely bucking the trend. You thought you know, but you didn't know. You thought Howie Roseman hated and never paid running backs. We went out and got Win Healthy, which is a very important thing to talk about. But Win Healthy, Saquon is borderline elite at this point. Maybe not the same player athletically he was before his injury, but I would say healthy Saquon Barkley is absolutely in the discussion for a top 5 running back in the NFL. And another player, and obviously we all need to knock on wood a little bit, that had some injury concerns coming to Philadelphia was A.J. Brown. He was always missing time with the Tennessee Titans, able to stay healthy here in Philadelphia. And even though we made a trade for Kenny Pickett, it's Jalen Hurts' team, and we're going to hope to continue. I will say, amongst the disappointments that I've seen just from an outside looking in perspective with the Philadelphia Eagles in the sim, where you see rough numbers for Devontae Smith, for Dallas Goedert, for A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts almost always develops very nice. It is uncommon for me not to see Jalen Hurts 5-6 years in rebuild to be like a 96, 97 X factor. So that should bode well. I think Saquon's got to eat in the offense. My concern is just how everything handles the pass. On the defensive side, we got a brand new defense coordinator, Vic Fangio, so the Philadelphia Eagles are likely going to be switching to a 3-4, which is not a drastic change because we were pretty much a hybrid defense anyway the last couple years. It's weird to try to get everybody going here, but obviously Jordan Davis is going to be the nose tackle. Jalen Carter, superstar. I mean, both these guys are superstar players, but Jalen Carter, immense upside. He has the potential to be the best D lineman in the NFL someday. So that is pretty badass. And we're going to have Milton Williams and Brandon Graham kind of rotate there. BG's a little undersized. It's really the only role we could find for him in the offense. Josh Sweat is in a final year of his contract, so we're kind of in a spot where, we kind of need to have Josh Sweat out there to be competitive, but also we need to think about Nolan Smith's development. I don't think he'll lose his star dev, and obviously Nolan Smith will have to develop into a great pass rusher for us. We have Bryce Huff, who is almost like a straight swap. We sent the Jets Hassan Reddick, proven X-Factor pass rusher. We got Josh Huff, who's very underrated in return. At linebacker, we got Devin White on a one-year deal. He's a lot better in Madden than he is in real life. But that's also still being optimistic that Devin White can return back to when he was a really good linebacker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If not, we got Nakobe Dean and the Axeman Jr. there waiting for development. The secondary, though, for the Philadelphia Eagles went from a glaring weakness for us last year to a optimistic strength. You got Reed Blankenship, very solid safety. You got Sidney Brown, the Canadian, made a bunch of splash plays last year. Enough so to say, this is a player. There's a guy in there. We got GJ returning back to the Philadelphia Eagles. Never should have left. Last time he was here in Philadelphia, was tied for the league lead in interceptions with 6, and he missed like 4 games. Absolute dog. Happy to have him back. We got Slay, nearing the end of his career, but he's still a big-time player. I would say, if I'm being honest, probably doesn't deserve an X Factor anymore, but still absolutely a superstar player. And then you got DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell. How we're going to line up, we're going to have Quinyon and Slay playing the outside with DeJean in the slot. Isaiah Rodgers is a great football player as well, just getting recently reinstated by the league. And I'll tell you what, as soon as we possibly can, James Bradbury, his ass is out of Philadelphia. But all in all, very strong team. And anytime you rebuild the Philadelphia Eagles, it's almost all about maintaining your team. Can you handle the salary cap restrictions? Because we don't have as much freedom and luxury as Howie Roseman has in real life here in Madden. Hopefully we can keep this team competitive. So we're just past the midway point of year number 1, and the Philadelphia Eagles are sitting atop the NFC East 9-2. Real good. Could be worse, for sure, but happy with where we're at. And we're coming off a 35-16 victory in the Battle of Pennsylvania, where Jalen Hurts put up 4 tuds on the day, and he's got a couple player of the weeks. A huge week 10, 400 yards, 5 touchdowns, 18 of 20. That is efficiency. He has in week 8, where he got 4 total touchdowns, 2 in the air, 2 on the ground, on top of 71 yards rushing. He got at week 6, another perfect dual threat performance. Also shout out week 4 Saquon with an insane 3 touchdown, 150-yard game. The offense is absolutely crushing it. We got to figure out how we're going to handle contracts. Clearly not picking up the 5th-year option for Kenny Pickett. We likely will for Jordan Davis. As far as free agents are concerned, Devontae Parker, good as gone. Avonte Maddox, like him, just we got way too much depth in the secondary. Milton Williams would be an interesting one to come see season's end if he looks like, because he's starting for us, so if the stats look pretty good. Maybe we'll give him a shot. BG's almost, I'm going to gamble that he is going to retire. I would be interested in bringing back Isaiah Rodgers, but again, the depth of our secondary is a lot, and there's no interest as far as re-signing him. Same with Kenny Gainwell. I'll say right now, Mekhi Becton, I am absolutely interested, and I'm going to give him a 6-year deal, and we'll bump that up a little bit, see if we get him 60 or 31. I think Philly's going to do, this is the plan for Mekhi Becton. You get him here on a 1-year rental. And I'm not going to pat myself on the back too much, but he, in my first Eagles dream offseason, I was like, if we have to get a lineman, any lineman, go get Mekhi Becton, because he can come in with Jeff Stoutland, the best developer, right? The Jets notoriously have like one of the worst offensive line coaches in all of football. Now, I'm not saying Mekhi Becton's got to turn around. He's struggled with weight issues. He's had some injuries. Maybe that is due to the weight issues. But we have had a lot of success with gigantic offensive linemen here in Philadelphia. Jordan Mailata, 6'8", 350. Landon Dickerson, 6'6", 340. And all these guys not only have played and developed, they've been able to stay healthy in Philadelphia. So I didn't know they're going to get him and move him to guard. I was thinking maybe use him as the Lane Johnson successor. But I think this is what's going to happen with Philadelphia. If it works out, Philly's going to get him at a cut rate deal long term, and we're laughing. All right, we got Josh Sweat looking for a contract, and as much as I would like to pay him, as much as I think he's underrated, even though he's coming off a down year IRL, as much as that's actually not a brutal contract at all, the fact of the matter is we got Nolan Smith. Like, the only way this would make sense is if we put Josh Sweat down the line, have him as an undersized player on the front, which we could do, because that is a very reasonable, like, I mean, his ceiling's probably 85, and we're going to get that for under a $10 million cap hit. I think that's worth it. Devin White, I don't think this is going to happen in real life, but I think as far as Madden is concerned, Devin White is a terrific Madden linebacker. So I'd like to keep him here in the heart and middle of our defense. Now, that does kind of stink for Nakobe Dean or Jeremiah Trotter, because one of those guys is going to kind of be odd man out. Nature is a business. A little bit later on in the season, week 16, justifying the contract extension, a big-time performance. Devin White in the heart of this defense, 5 tackles, 2 interceptions, one of them a pick 6. So we close out the season at 15-2, the 1 seed in the NFC. We finished with the number 1 offense. 33 points a game is very high. Top 10 passing offense, number 1 rushing offense. Defense pretty good. Pass defense could be better, especially with the, but I mean, how many times have we seen Sim pass defense looks terrible, but then we get a bunch of picks and stuff like that. So I'm not overly concerned. And look who we got winning the MVP, Jalen Hurts. And he went kind of nuclear. Top 10 in passing yards, top 3 in touchdowns, 4,100 yards passing, 37 touchdowns to 6 picks. He also chipped in 661 rushing yards and 9 touchdowns, which is a little low. That's definitely not the ceiling that I've seen with Jalen Hurts in the sim. But when you got Kenny Gainwell, chipped him away at 5 touchdowns. When you got Saquon Barkley, 1,700 yards, 25 rushing touchdowns, which was enough to get him 8th in MVP voting. Also, quick shout out, Nick Sirianni, give him full credit, wins Coach of the Year. But we got Saquon getting Offensive Player of the Year, Jalen Hurts, number 2, A.J. Brown, number 4, Devontae Smith, number 10. This offense is prolific this season. Jalen Hurts got Quarterback of the Year. Saquon Barkley got Running Back of the Year. Wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb beats out A.J. Brown, who comes in number 2. Devontae Smith at number 5. Landon Dickerson, Lineman of the Year, which should be a superstar dev trait coming his way. And we really look at the numbers here. Hey, Chargers offense works well. You know, we got the new offensive coordinator in Kellen Moore. We got 86 catches, 1,300 yards, 15 tuds for A.J. Brown. We got 77 catches, 1,200 yards, 12 tuds for Devontae Smith. With he had a 97-yard touchdown at some point. 7-6 for Dallas Goedert ain't bad. And I mean, I'm going to be honest, with all due respect to every other skill position player, these are the only 3 on reality, especially with Dallas Goedert getting up there in age a little bit. If AJ and Devontae can constantly get 1,000 plus, I'm going to be happy. Very happy. And Landon Dixon went Lineman of the Year. I assume he didn't give up a sack, which he did not. Looking at the defense, Devin White, insane. 139 tackles, 8 TFLs, 3 sacks, 5 picks, which was enough for him to get runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year. On that 1 year, we paid him very much an immediate return on investment. He was also runner-up for Linebacker of the Year, losing out to Van Ginkel. Josh Sweat is up there, 4th. And the last award winner, which you love to see, I mean, I would like to see maybe a little bit more Quinyon Mitchell, but Cooper DeJean wins Defensive Rookie of the Year. Hopefully that's a superstar dev for our boy. You know, as the great Shane Gillis says, Cooper DeJean, that guy is from the San Diego Zoo. He's a unique unicorn, 101. Put that guy on show for everybody. 101 tackles, 6 TFLs, 2 picks, and a sack. Interceptions could be better, for sure. You know, disappointing seeing Quinyon Mitchell not get any interceptions. 61 tackles for him. You know, not affecting my opinion. Quinyon Mitchell, dog. He's got a, you know, it's going to come a point in time when, like, Slay moves on, and it's going to be Quinyon Mitchell, corner 1, Cooper DeJean, corner 2, and we'll figure out the rest later. Sacks are maybe the low point. Definitely, you know, 21 TFLs, 4.5 sacks for Jalen Carter is all right. Little low for Bryce Huff, considering, you know, how much we paid to get him. Jordan Davis, that's fine for a nose tackle. Josh Sweat, big-time performer there for us as well, but definitely want to see more sacks from Jalen Carter. We are switching from a 4-3 to a 3-4, so maybe there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve. And I mean, at the end of the day, 21 and 4.5 ain't brutal. It's just you'd like to see, you know, 7-8 sacks there minimum. And look what we got in the first round of the playoffs. For the Dallas Cowboys, this is going to be the number 1 offense against the number 3 offense. This is going to be a defense that is adjusting from the scheme change to a defense that, you know, they do bring in a new defensive coordinator, but still top 5 defense. And Dallas, you know, they're a cheesy team. This is not going to be a layup. I would hate to have a great season lose to Dallas. And it's a shootout, 45-39 to the good guys. Jalen Hurts, 420. Almost 500 yards, though, for Jalen Hurts. 4 touchdowns. Cooked that top 5 defense. And Devin White, the man with the big-time contract extension. 16 tackles for him. Love it. And look what we got. Has this ever happened before? Philadelphia versus the Minnesota Vikings in the NFC Championship game. Now, we don't got Nick Foles. We don't got, who had that pick? Patrick Robinson. And I'll give them respect. Respect is due. I'm gonna auto upgrade. Actually, I'm not gonna auto upgrade. I'm gonna make sure we gotta get some guys here going into their scheme fits here. But I'm gonna upgrade our players before this matchup, so we can make sure, especially our young bucks out here, Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell. Mitchell already a scheme fit with a bump up to an 80. That's outstanding to be at the end of your rookie campaign, especially making that jump from the MAC to the NFL and Saquon just doing Saquon things. But 15-2 Eagles after dismantling the Cowboys offensively. We got to figure out a way to stop Justin Jefferson and the Minnesota Vikings. That's a tough role, but we are just, again, 33 points per game. I can't remember a time I've had that much production. And Jalen Hurts is absolutely crushing it. 3 touchdowns. Cooper DeJean, the unicorn, with 2 picks. And the Philadelphia Eagles are heading to the Super Bowl in year 1 of our 10-year rebuild, which is going to be probably my favorite one, especially we can win a Super Bowl every year. Can we get 10 Super Bowls in a row? This is a baller Super Bowl. I'll be honest, from a biased Philadelphia Eagle perspective, if you told me Philly could go to the Super Bowl again and it's not a chance to beat the freaking Chiefs, I would love as a neutral to see the Ravens. I like the Ravens as a franchise. I love the way they draft. I love their players. I've been a Lamar Jackson stan since he was in college. I think that'd be a hell of a matchup. But look at the rankings. You know, we should get them here. They might have a better defense, but our offense is a lot better. Not only is our offense a lot better, we got the superstar dev on Dickerson. We got the superstar dev on Jalen Hurts. Which, obviously, you know, he won the MVP, quarterback of the year, doing big-time things. A.J. Brown already had his X Factor. Saquon already had his X Factor. Devontae Smith just decided, you know what? To thank you for giving me that early contract extension, I will also take a superstar X Factor, please. If that's what we're ordering a round of at the table, I will get one. On the defensive side, I thought it was going to be maybe a little more harsh. I thought Devin White for sure was going to get locked into a dev trade. I thought Jordan Davis was going to lose his dev trade. But I guess they, respect and appreciate the production that he put up as a nose tackle. Now, Slay lost his X Factor, which stings. I think that's more so of an age thing. But Cooper DeJean, for winning Rookie of the Year, gets a dev trade. Jalen Carter, somehow. I mean, again, you know what? I appreciate, I think Madden, especially for these dev trades and stuff, it can't all be about sacks. I think you take sacks and TFLs combined, because different players, different roles. And, I mean, if you combine the both, Jalen Carter had a ridiculous year. 21 TFLs. The sacks are like around 5 or whatever, but a big X factor for the X factor on the Eagles defense. This is our franchise guy going forward. We got our first Super Bowl. We do have the option to hop in 3 times. I'd love not to because it's year 1, but the reality is this Eagles rebuild, the challenge of this Eagles rebuild is not taking one of the best teams right away and winning a Super Bowl. It's almost like I was expecting a Super Bowl within the first 2 seasons, 3 seasons max. It's going to become year 4, 5, 6 when the salary cap becomes tighter. Then I could say something super inappropriate. You know what? I'm one of those sayings. That is going to be the challenge, is maintaining this Eagles roster. But don't can't get it twisted. A Super Bowl in year 1, there's not a better way to start. We get the first touchdown of the game, Baltimore. We're trading pain here. Look at that. I love that. We go for it on 4th down. We go for it on 4th down twice, and we get 2 straight touchdowns to reward the gigantic nuts of Nick Sirianni. And we got as long as this clock's not running, I'll take a shot here to the end zone. See if we can go up. I hate these plays. We'll go inside post out because clock was rolling. I got you. I want one play here, especially one where you had A.J. Brown lining up in the slot. Now, if it's Baltimore, usually they got Marlon Humphrey in the slot. Oh, come on, give me that play to run again. Damn it. Usually you got oh, there we go. The PA crossers. Sounds a little risky if they can't hold up, but look at that. As long as 22, that's going to be a wide open A.J. Brown. Oh, thanks. Appreciate it. A little 2 for 1. I believe we get the ball to start the second half. Which we unfortunately didn't really do much for, but they're in desperate territory. They're going for it on 4th down. They're not going away. Come on. Let's not blow another Super Bowl. You still got time left? Don't have the clock running. You do have no timeouts. We got no timeouts. Jalen Hurts playing out of his mind. 4 touchdowns. I'll tell you right now, Eagle fans, and I know I got a lot of you guys that watch my stuff. If you want to have a fun Eagles franchise, just go ahead and put the Chargers playbook on. Now, you're not getting the great returns on Miami Dolphins playbook. That's Vic Fangio. Let's go, big dog! Swole Batman! following the rules. That was our third time. We got it, man. I think we're going to look back. We'll say throw a year. Year 5. Year 5, year 6 of this rebuild. When our team is getting decimated because I can't re-sign anyone. We're going to appreciate the try-hardiness of getting this year 1 Super Bowl in. Because there's going to be I mean, we're not losing much. Next year, we're going to be as good. But, again, the wheels are going to fall off at some point. That is where the challenge comes in this rebuild. And I think before those wheels fall off, we need to win as much as we can. And it takes 3 Super Bowls over a 10-year period for these rebuilds to be considered a dynasty. So the bank one early. And honestly, I think next year we got to be just as aggressive. I think if we can bank too early before it comes to the point in time where it goes to those re-signs, the in-season re-signing period, and it's just like, oh, well, we can only pick 2 of these guys. We're going to lose 7. We got to pick the best 2. Before it gets to that time, we can stack enough Super Bowls up. We're going to be looking good. And that is 5 touchdowns for Jalen Hurts. Give the league MVP, Super Bowl MVP as well. I will say, looking at our roster, where do we want to go for the draft? I think 3rd wide receiver could be an option. Draft and or free agency. Saquon is regressing. Don't get it twisted by the 99. He was like a 95. And he regressed down to a 93. We had a point after the Super Bowl to bring him back up to a 94. But Saquon at 28, you know, it wouldn't be a brutal idea if BPA ends up being a running back. Just because Shipley, you know, he is there developing, but somewhat limited ceiling. Can he be RB1? Who knows? But I would make the argument that slot wide receiver, if BPA happens to be a running back, we could look that way. Center, but that's probably something we would want to wait for next year when we get the generated draft classes. This is kind of how the D-line is working, the linebacking core. I mean, I think we're good, honestly. I probably just like the Eagles are going to be IRL, BPA. I mean, looking at the contracts, Slay, Goddard, Reed Blankenship, final year of their contracts, N'Kobe Dean, Cam Jurgens, so like that maybe can point us in a direction. Interior of the line, corner, safety, tight end. Do we say screw it and just... What? He retired. You're telling me he's coming back? The big dog's coming back for a year? Yes! Yes! Big dog came out of retirement. Let's go! So we had to sit all the way. We earned the right to wait. The pick 32 in the first round of the 2025 NFL Draft, where a lot of different ways we go. I actually kind of wish we scouted Ollie Gordon. I did scout a running back. I scouted Donovan Edwards. I'm interested in picking up a running back. Don't think I'd love one in the first round. I scouted both top tight ends, and they are unfortunately all off the board. Evans is a stud at Notre Dame. Urasek, the transfer from Stanford. So can we try and get another Zach Ertz style player? I'll be honest with you. If anyone will give me a first round next year, by all means. So we got a first and a 7th from the Colts, a first and 2 7ths from the Jags, first in 2027. I'd rather one next year. The Rams, a 1, 4, and 6. Look, congratulations. Looks like the Rams are getting themselves a first-round pick. Oh, that's who I wanted. Logan, the top center. Logan, I mean, Kelsey's only going to be here for 1 year, and Jurgens is in a contract season. Damn it. I mean, Slaughter looks sick down here day 3. Maybe we can dip back in. I know Brailsford's a good player as well at Alabama. Tight end still doesn't look great. Running backs, of course, all the guys I kind of wanted are gone. You know, I like Gene T. Could go there. Like, I'm great on the D-line. I feel real good there. I'm great at linebacker. We're good at corner. We're good at safety. This is, again, just the board looks terrible. Like, what kind of trade can I get? All right, we'll go with value. We're going to trade out of the second round again, and we'll pick up a future 2nd, 5th, and a, what is that, a 6th this year. Now we do have 2 picks into the 3rd round. This is where we're going to need to upgrade here. I think up first, we will take a look at a running back, and we're going to get Gene T. I love him. Even though his name's Ashton. I guess that's inappropriate, but a great dual threat. Guys, do it all, and we get him in the pipeline to succeed, potentially Saquon Barkley. You know what? I say we trust our board. Jake Slaughter, 3 A's. Yep, I'll take him. No dev trait, but the base rating's probably going to be in the 70s. I know the rating kind of sucks, but I'm going with a Gator bias. Howie Roseman, the Gator alumni. We get ourselves Eugene Wilson. Very small, very shifty, kind of like a Nice Smith. 96 acceleration, 93 speed. We're going with some athleticism. Get a great dev trait role here for our third wide receiver. At least put him in the conversation. So, looking at our draft recap, pretty solid draft, understanding that we traded out and have 2 firsts and 2 seconds next year. We got Shab 66, Lee 66, 70 hidden dev wide receiver in Eugene Wilson, Jake Slaughter, a 70 normal, but gets to sit behind Jason Kelsey for a year, and Gene T, 72 hidden dev running back in the 3rd round. Happy with the haul. Very interesting. We got trade offers to start year 2 here of Nakobe Dean. Obviously buried in the linebacking depth chart. Probably not going to get paid. I mean, we're not going to take advantage. This is still a realistic rebuild. Yeah, we'll grab a depth tight end here. All right, just at mid-season, got a big one here against Dallas, but we are 6-0 sitting atop of the NFC East, and we got a couple little things we need to handle here for first shout out. Week 6, handling business against a solid Charger team. We then are getting some offers in for Kenny Pickett. Word on the street is since we declined his 5th-year option, a lot of people are probably, and this could be how it plays out in Howie Roseman's head. I mean, let's be honest, Kenny Pickett, kind of a meme, living Pittsburgh, but if you view Kenny Pickett as a clear-cut backup quarterback behind Jalen Hurts, you can do a lot worse, I think. I still personally might have went with the cheaper Tanner McKee approach, but Kenny Pickett could salvage some of his career. And looking at some of the offers, we got very generous ones. Like, I think that would be unrealistic. Sean Dotson is a playmaker. Grover Stewart, more of a veteran. But you know what? Sue Amadia, 22, part of the 2024 NFL draft class at tackle. That kind of seems like someone that I actually thought the Eagles might consider to be the developmental player behind Lane Johnson. So the fact that he is now available and we get an extra pick, absolutely. Thank you, Kenny Pickett. And ahead of the Dallas Cowboys, we have a breakout scenario. Let's do it all here live, man. Let's see if we can hit this. I don't know who it potentially could be. It is Reed Blankenship. Chalk Dalk. And we got 150 yards or get him 2 picks, forced fumbles, TFL sacks. Now, probably one of the weirder spots for me on this team personally, because Reed Blankenship, awesome player. Hell, he was one of my top targets that year for players that went as a UDFA. Insane production at Middle Tennessee State. And he went on at his pro day and put up like a 9-something RAS. I was like, yes, this is the guy we want to go get. Ended up bringing him in. So, you know, much like everybody, I think he's almost a universally loved player. Badass, especially if we can hit a dev trait right here. But then you got the Canadian Sidney Brown, who is honestly almost equally as badass of a player. Didn't have a whole lot of opportunities as a rookie, but flew around there, right? That's what we like to see in our DBs. You saw some growing pains for sure. But then you had, like, what, the 97-yard pick 6. And that was insane. Like, that was the fastest. I don't know what the MPH was. That was probably the fastest any Eagle player ran last year. So, like, a bunch of upside there as we handle Cowboys. 24-16. Point being, if Reed Blankenship goes off, he unfortunately does not in his case. But, like, that's, you know, I want both those guys on the field. But you got CJ GJ at safety. And you can't just, like, really move. Like, maybe we get creative. And we potentially look at the corner room when Slade moves on as Cooper DeJean on one side, Quinyon Mitchell on the other. And then you look for that slot corner. Maybe you kick Chauncey Gardner-Johnson back to slot corner. And that way there we can get Reed Blankenship and Sidney Brown on the field at the same time. All right, so look at some of our contracts here. $102 million. Lane Johnson, we're kind of at that year-by-year basis where, you know, as long as we have a good chunk of money that we're willing to pay, we will pay that. So we'll come back to him next week, which I don't think that'll be that big of a deal. We got Reed Blankenship. I think we can get him like a 3-year, 21. That works out pretty well again, even though it is a little bit of a crowded secondary right now. Slay is good enough to come back on a 1-year. But does he want to? I still think we can have him there and not worry about stunting the growth and development of DeJean or Quinyon Mitchell. Jurgens we're going to move on from. We have Jason Kelsey. I mean, again, another deal where it's like, please, just one more year. Let me live through this fantasy here in Madden at least that he'll come out of retirement again. So we get Kelsey locked up. We definitely aren't going to have any issues with Lane Johnson. Thankfully, James Bradbury era will finally end here in Philadelphia. We'll pick up the fifth-year option of both these guys. Likely, I mean, maybe not Nolan Smith. We don't want to get ahead of that contract, Nolan Smith. Decline the fifth-year option, get him locked in a longer deal, and bank on him growing and developing and that contract. Meanwhile, whereas someone like Jalen Carter, which you can make the argument, but $21 million a year, a long-term extension is not going to pay a whole lot more than that, so we can just get ahead of that and save a couple bucks here or there. Dallas Goedert's the interesting one. That is a long contract for a guy that I feel, potentially at his expiration date as like a big-time premier tight end for us. Clearly the third option has performed well. I did just set my focus scouting for tight ends for this upcoming class. I think we'll wait and see on Dallas Goedert. I'm bringing this here live as we are 14-0, staring down an opportunity at the perfect season. We got Denver, Atlanta, and Chicago. 3 teams on the opposite end of, let's be honest. All due respect, but opposite ends of defeating. Oh, all right, that's a quick little segment of this year. Fuck. So that one loss against the Broncos really was the one in 16-1. We finished with the number 1 offense. I don't know how my pass defense is that bad, but defense top 10, number 1 rushing defense. Ooh, a little bit of drama here, though, as Jalen Hurts loses the MVP award to Dak Prescott. Hurts played well. 4,300 yards, 40 touchdowns, was number 1 in the NFL to only 2 interceptions. He also chipped in 500 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns. So Jalen Hurts finishes with 4,800 yards, 44 touchdowns, 2 picks, 16-1. What did Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys? 40. He had more interceptions. He did, he did have 49 touchdowns. But still, come on. Easy layup. Jalen Hurts should be back-to-back MVPs. Coach of the Year does go to Nick Sirianni, back-to-back. And our only 2 award winners this year, Jalen Hurts at quarterback, Saquon Barkley at running back. When we look through the stats, Saquon is absolutely killing it. 1,800 yards, 22 touchdowns. Would have liked maybe Gene T, take the 3 off the fullback and give it to Gene T. That would have been cool. But, it feels good that we have that running back kind of waiting, getting ready to take over. Devontae Smith, I couldn't be any happier with how this passing offense is. Because that's how it should look. 1,300 yards, 14 touchdowns for Devontae. 13 and 10 for A.J. Brown. The rookie, Eugene Wilson. We lost Offensive Rookie of the Year to a quarterback. It's a quarterback award if there's a good quarterback. But that is a hell of a rookie campaign, especially as debatably the 4th receiving option behind Dallas Goedert. On the defensive standpoint, Devin White is thriving here with Vic Fangio and this Eagles defense. 5 interceptions, 100 tackles. Sacks are still kind of butt cheeks. Jalen Carter with a nice year. But the fact of the matter is we are getting nothing out of our 2 edge rushers. Bryce Huff and Nolan Smith Jr. are struggling in our base defense to make plays. So might need to get that corrected a little bit. 5 picks, Devin White. 3 for Slay. DeJean with 2. Blankenship with 2. Man, has Quinyon Mitchell got a pick yet in his career? And in the division round against the playoffs, we're taking on the 9-8 Minnesota Vikings, who have a top 10 offense. Pretty decent rush defense. But, again, we know what happens when the Eagles and Vikings tend to be the playoffs. It's an ass-kicking, and that is what it is. 35-21, the high-powered offense. Just couldn't do anything. They couldn't stop Saquon, who crushed it. Almost 200 yards from scrimmage, 3 touchdowns. Cooper DeJean, love seeing him getting Defensive Player of the Week. So we got a very interesting situation here in the NFC Championship game. Not only was Jason Kelce the only player coming out of retirement, as Aaron Donald back out better than ever. But when you look at the tail of the tape here, Rams are solid offensively, really good defensively. We should crush them. This should be back-to-back Super Bowl appearances. But I guess anytime you have Aaron Donald, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, you got a shot, and we handle business 28-20, setting up what would be a truly electrifying Super Bowl. Reed Blankenship, Player of the Week, Saquon back-to-back. Saquon is carrying this team right now. Look at that, man. My God. He has like 400 yards and 6 touchdowns in our 2 playoff games. Insanity. I'm going to throw a scenario out here. We're going to call this the Vic Fangio Bowl. Whereas if we win this Super Bowl, Vic Fangio is like, 70? He's one of the oldest coaches in the league. Obviously left Miami as defensive coordinator. Joined the Eagles as defensive coordinator at the start of this rebuild. If we win this Super Bowl, we're going to act like Vic's going out on top. and I can go try to solve this defense. Because let's be honest, this defense is not playing up to the level of talent. The interceptions are all right, but the sack numbers are terrible. We're getting nothing out of our edge rushers, so I'm thinking maybe a scheme philosophy change on the defensive side. So this is the Vic Fangio Bowl. Let's win this one so we can get his ass out of the building. Alrighty, let's go. This would be an awesome Super Bowl, though. How good offensively. Like, I mean, the last time we matched up, it was a little rough for the Dolphins. But Dolphins are fun. Dolphins are an exciting team. Easy, neutral team to root for, as long as you're a fan of a team outside the AFC East. They're fast. They're exciting. They're fun. They got McDaniel. Where's Air Force Ones? But, it's been a pretty solid start for the Eagles, but it feels like we've been dominating. It feels like we've been scoring on all our possessions, but we're kind of letting the Dolphins stay in this one. We have a third down, 3rd and 2. Let's hop in here. Maybe not have to get a touchdown, but how about we just move the chains? And by that, I mean, let's throw this fucking thing. Let's throw this thing. Saquon out the backfield beats his man. There's a little taste. Just a taste. That's all we need. I'm not going to be greedy. I'm not staying for long. Just give me a slice. Oh, come on, man. Put that game away. Thank you very much. A second straight Super Bowl. This is our window. Again, there's going to come a time. Saquon is getting pretty close to that regression wall. Jalen Hurts, his contract is going to be very expensive soon. Lane Johnson could very well retire this year. Jason Kelce, try to keep him, but he might go out of retirement this year. So Slay could retire this year. So there's a chance that we're gonna have a harsh offseason here coming up. So winning while the team is in that window, very important. And look at that. That sight of seeing Kelce come out of retirement to get back up there on that podium as the confetti falls down in Eagles colors. That's actually not Eagles colors at all. Those are like USA, America colors. We won this one for you guys down there in America. Let's go. Super Bowl MVP. I'm going to guess Jalen Hurts. Let's go find one. I don't know. I kind of like doing this. There's not a clear MVP. Hurts played well. Saquon, 102 touchdowns. We got one set. Yeah, okay. Congratulations on your Super Bowl MVP, Saquon Barkley. All right, point needs to be made. Slay, expected potential retirement, yes. Lane Johnson, expected potential retirement, yes. Jason Kelce's coming back. 1 year out the league. Hated the broadcast job. I don't know where. I think he's ESPN right now. Awesome. So as I said, we were going to be moving on from Vic Fangio if we won the Super Bowl. And that's exactly what we did. And finding a 4-3 scheme, I sure as shit love the Bills one. So we're going to go with that. Also, be a big changes on the defensive side of the ball, but look on the offense. Getting Kelce to play another year is awesome. I suppose the question would be, do we kick Mekhi Becton back out to right tackle, or we made that trade with Suamadia, 76, only 23, kind of, keep it working? I mean, Becton's a 2-time Super Bowl champion at right guard, might be able to develop Suamadia. Gene T and Wilson both were hidden devs on the offensive side of the ball, both star devs. Now, take a look at the defense. I'm going to be honest. Might need to be a little bit worried Josh Sweat. He's older than Bryce Huff. He's kind of the odd man out. We need to get Nolan Smith on the field. So maybe there could be a trade where we send Josh Sweat off somewhere. We also, as we mentioned, kicked CJ GJ. He's going to be our slot corner with DeJean and Mitchell on the outside. That frees up Sidney Brown an opportunity to start on this defense. And we got Reed Blankenship. They're staying at strong safety. Devin White and Trotter Jr., the Axeman, are going to be our primary linebackers next year. We're going to pick up the 5th-year option on Jalen Kiter. However, I am not going to pick up said option on Nolan Smith because I want to get that real. I think there's opportunity there to get a very, very cheap contract that's going to pay for itself once he becomes full-time starter. The tough decision, it's going to be the end of the Dallas Goedert era here in Philadelphia. Had a bad career. 422 catches, 4,800 yards, 32 touchdowns for one of the most underrated tight ends in the NFL. For where our roster's at, we have an insane amount of salary cap available right now. Like $100 million. Doesn't even make sense. The only position I think I'd be interested in potentially getting an upgrade would be tight end. That is really the big position to need. That is where I focus got it for this upcoming draft. And again, the ball is going to drop at some point, and we're going to pay. I like the fact that it stays $22.75 with the dev trade. I mean, That ain't bad. That ain't bad at all. Or I could draft a better one. I think this is very much a situation, or I can draft a better one. And I think that's what I'm going to take. Because I got to give me something to try to crush during this year's draft. All right, so how we want to handle this draft? We got 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks. For our tight ends, we did scout the entirety of the class. The best 2 on paper, we have John Richards, amazing value, A, double Bs. We also have Clayton Leonard, not as much value, but still value if he is on the board with likewise double A and double B. But I think the pick that I am circling in on, I was like, all right, well, we need potentially a tackle. Joe Roth. So a lot of first-round talents projected to go. 4 A's for this guy. 6'5", 309 out of Tennessee. 4 A's. And we talk about regens before, like in FIFA. When Ronaldo, Messi retires, someone in free agency pops up, that's going to be them. Lane Johnson retires, and this guy exists, and he's not a top 5 pick. It's almost too good to be true. So, got to find a way. Honestly, I got to go see the mock draft and where this guy's going. The bad news, I guess, is if you have 2 first-round picks, you don't really want them at 32 and 29. And that tackle is going 21. So we'd have to trade to pick 20. We're not going to obviously be in a situation where we trade both of these first-round picks. However, maybe we'll call up, maybe in a little bit ahead. Don't want to play with fire. This guy looks sensational. I don't want, say, the Titans. I'm thinking, like, where do the tackles start to go? If he gets past the Patriots at 12, I mean, like 11's looking pretty good. Maybe that's where we want to try out. Just make sure before any tackles start to go, we have our pick of the litter. And you got to remember, who's the DC right now in Cleveland? Jim Schwartz. Who do we have that was a valuable member of Jim Schwartz defense? Josh Sweat, who's kind of the odd man out right now. Josh Sweat. All right, it's pretty much this is the last bit that I'm recording here tonight. So maybe salads have been consumed when I made this trade. Ignore the players. That's just to make the salary cap work. To get pick 11 in this year's draft, I also was able to get them to throw in their first rounder next year. I throw in Josh Sweat, 84, 28, star dev pass rusher. So he's still in prime, close to decline, but Jim Schwartz knows, familiar with him, and he's probably going to thrive on the other side of Myles Garrett. We give pick 29 and 32 this year, so 2 first-round picks. We give up a second, third, and fourth-round pick this year. We still have 2 second-round picks, so we're going to be able to, I got to get some guys, some targets, like that one of those tight ends. We'll grab one of those in the second round. Got a couple other guys I'm pondering a little bit, but I think all in all, pretty fair trade. So we make this trade so we can pick at 11 and go from Lane Johnson to a man that I can't believe is available where he's supposed. I mean, I've seen 4 A's, but usually when you get the 4 A's that are not top 5 picks, they have terrible combines. Like the bench press is 28. The rest of the stats are good, is their ceiling. We got a couple elites here. The bench press could be better, to be honest. We had to nitpick it a little bit, but that's an outstanding player right there. And he's going to be plug and play our new starting right tackle. So we have pick 10 and 28 here in the second round, and I think we go get the tight end that we scouted first. Second round talent, John Richards out of Texas A&M. Look at that, 6'6". We'll round that up to 260. A, catch and traffic, B for route running and catching, A, run block, elite strength. The combine is great. Let's freaking go. So our next pick's not going to be the 5th round. So in terms of finding my guys, this might be our last chance at a lock of getting who I think's the best. So we don't have a pick. Look at this freak, 6'6". Pretty good traits, but I mean, we don't need wide. I don't have a pick again to the 5th round. So this needs to be really our last kind of home run selection. Now, I will say I was pondering just drafting both tight ends. I mean, worked with New England. But ultimately, the value to me is here at corner. Greg Moody. B man coverage, B zone coverage. He's 6'2", 4.3 speed. Yeah. Oh, no dev. Oh, that's brutal. So take a look at our draft class. Feel real good. I mean, the back end, not the best. It's got a 73 punter. Pretty, I'll take that. Moody, 76, even though he has the normal dev. 74 for John Richards, hidden dev. But can't believe it. Like, I don't know how long he would have lasted. If he would have actually made it all the way to the, 20 or something like that. But Joe Roth, absolute insane talent. I'm going to make him a right tackle. You cannot find a better replacement for a 96, 95 superstar, whatever Lane Johnson was when he retired. And that is, oh my God, what a freaking pick. I mean, that could be superstar dev. I was getting ready for bed, and out of nowhere, just saw this one snare. I was like, oh, why don't we interact? You know, good old Jason Kelce. He's like, oh, let's just work, and I'm going to help out your new guy. What a freaking leader. He's like, I can't believe we got Roth. So what I'm going to do is we're going to help him in pass pro. We're going to get him caught up to speed. Not a better mentor that you're going to get in the NFL. So the midway point of the season, 6-0, undefeated. Clearly the big dogs in the NFL right now. Jalen Hurts coming off back-to-back player of the week performances. A 3-touchdown performance last week. Week 5, a 4-touchdown performance. I think he also won in week 2. He did with another 3-touchdown performance. And that's about all you can ask. But I am still waiting. Every single time I see the good results, which is the record, which is the rankings, yada, yada, yada. I'm still waiting for that time when we come here with a big smile on our face and look at the cap and look at who we have to re-sign and understand that we are in a tight spot. And I don't think that's going to be this year. Okay, so we got Jason Kelce, and I think it's just fair to assume as long as he wants to stay, this might be the year that he ends up just deciding to retire. But as long as he wants to stay, we are going to pay him. We have the Canadian Sidney Brown, which I am going to show full bias. And truth be told, he hasn't really justified this contract. But he's also never been early out of the start. This is his first year as a starter. So that's kind of why I don't want to go out there. Ringo still, I mean, this is like, just kind of puts Keely Ringo in perspective right now. I think if you're thinking about the Eagles in real life, you're like, well, where does he fit in the corner? Well, the fact that we're going to be 3-4 years down the line, he's only going to be 24. Yep, there's a lot of room for growth and development there. I think for our squad, because we are and have switched to a 4-3. Let me go look at the stats here before we pull back on that one. Saquon's been a god, so I think as much as you don't want to pay running backs, Saquon literally has been good enough that I drafted his replacement, and I don't think I can move on from him. And I think that is Saquon. That is not the Eagles' scheme. CJ, GJ, looking for a 1 year. I'd do you one better. How about a 2 year? Keep you for the rest of your prime. Then when you're 30, maybe we decide to move on. Jordan Davis is a tough one. I mean, I think I just got to go see all the D-line production right now before I hand out any contracts. So Bryce Huff has 4 TFLs, no sacks. He is a starter in our scheme. Nolan Smith has 4 TFLs, a sack and a half. It's getting a little better. And our leading sack getter is our 300 and, let's be honest, that's a generous 336 in Jordan Davis. Okay. So via process of elimination, I'd like to congrats Jordan Davis on a new contract. I'd like to congrats Nolan Smith on a new contract. And the fact that I don't think Bryce Huff has more than 10 sacks since he's been here in Philadelphia combined. He has 6.5 sacks in 3 seasons going on. It just hasn't worked out. All right, we're bringing it back here live as the undefeated streak is getting interesting. We might be able to run the whole stretch, an authentic undefeated season, potentially on the line. We're coming off of week 13, another player of the week for Jalen Hurts. I'm going to be honest, if it's not Mahomes, I think Jalen is running away with the MVP this season. But we got a couple weeks here. Things could still slip up. Let's see. Up first, we got the 4-8 Giants. Should be able to dispose of them, which we do, 31-17. Now we have the below 500 Jacksonville Jaguars, 84 overall. Not bad. We dispose of them. Okay, here comes, the gauntlet. It's going to be week 16, week 18. All due respect to the Titans. If we are going to slip up, it's going to be one of them. Let's just spend it here on Jalen Hurts. I am trying to work on field general here. Just bring him up to a scheme fit a little bit. Get him to be what Kellen Moore wants him. But look at that, a gigantic +2 throw power. That's like as good of an upgrade as you're going to get. Throw power, easily the hardest one that you get in the role there. All right, let's see. Week 16 against Lamar Jackson. The Ravens could be a Super Bowl preview. Oh, God damn it. At least there's a slight silver lining. Is it for Trotter? It is for Trotter, the Axeman Jr., who's been on a noble dev since he's been here. Drafted out of Clemson, has an opportunity with a decent performance, or the defense itself having a great performance against the Titans, getting him up to dev. That'd be pretty cool. You know, I'm not saying I would salvage an undefeated season for that, but I would, oh, God damn it. Come on! Normal dev to start, that's a layup. And we only give up 14 points. How are we missing that? Shout out Jalen Carter. Player of the week performance. All right, this one's at least worth watching. Cowboys are 14-2. There's a chance Dallas beats us. We beat Dallas. I mean, I think we would have the tiebreakers either way. But that is back-to-back 16-1 seasons for the Philadelphia. Good God. Number 1 offense, top 10 defense. And to top it all off, the belle of our draft class ball, URs are not deceiving you. After a trench boost, which gave him 10K XP in season. After Jason Kelsey taking him under his wing, which gave him, I think, at least another +1 overall. He is superstar dev. He ends his rookie. I mean, look at that. Only another 7K to get him up to an 88 overall. We might hit that if we go on a playoff run. What a free... I still can't believe he is the best lineman that I've seen outside of a top 5 projection in any draft class. Well, let's break down the stats here from year 3, and Jalen Hurts has his second MVP of the rebuild. I think it's absolutely fair to say he deserved it. 3rd in yards, 1st in touchdowns, only 43 touchdowns, 1 interception. And he also chipped in another 500 yards, 6 rushing touchdowns, 49 touchdowns, 1 interception. That might be the best season I don't even, like, there's got to be times, I feel like I've seen a crazy Joe Burrow year. The Bengals playbook has a lot of years like this with like 1 or 0 interceptions. And I imagine there's been like a 50 bomb from Mahomes. But 49-1 is certainly S tier of all S tiers out of all the rebuilds we've done, which is, I don't know how many, that's 100 plus. Sirianni has won his 3rd straight Coach of the Year award. So Jalen Hurts also gets Offensive Player of the Year, which is cool. Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to John Richards, the tight end, which is what we were kind of looking for there. I guess we kind of work our way through the stats. Saquon Barkley crushed it. DeJean with 8 touchdowns. I'll take that. A.J. Brown, 14-10, 12-16 for Devontae Smith. And the rookie tight end, we were not getting that production out of Dallas Goedert. So the right call not to pay Dallas Goedert. 82. He led the team in receptions for 900 yards, 9 touchdowns, 5-3 for Eugene Wilson, 3-5 for Saquon. Everybody eating here on the offense. So that's Jalen Hurts, quarterback of the year. Saquon Barkley, who we just decided to pay running back of the year. Devontae Smith and, wow, A.J. Brown down there at 7. That's a little rough, if I'm being honest with you. And unfortunately, not the same level of success on the defensive side of the ball. DeJean, a.k.a. DeJean, almost, at least in conversation for DB of the year. And Quinyon making the top 10 is pretty cool. He's had a little bit slower start. And on that side of the football, Devin White leads the team, 110 tackles, 3.5 sacks, 2 picks. We got 9.5 sacks on 22 TFLs to Jalen Carter. Very good. 17 TFLs, 8 sacks, Jordan Davis. Very good. Bryce Huff, who I decided not to pay. Outperformed Nolan Smith, who I did pay. And honestly, not brutal years, but you do want, one of your guys getting into the double digits, and preferably one of the outside guys. DeJean led the team, 4 picks, 3 from Quinyon. Happy with that. Oh, baby. First round of the playoffs at the link. 16-1 Eagles, 14-3 Cowboys. This is the number 1 offense against the number 2 offense. The number 3 defense for the Cowboys against our number 8 defense. And you know what? I'm not worried, but I do also think our offensive rookie of the year. Let's spend his point here to make sure that he is ready for his playoff debut. He is ready to make some plays against Micah Parsons and this damn Dallas Cowboy defense. Should be a tough game. Should be a close game. I like our chances that we are on a run. And look at that. It's not even close. We dump almost 50 on him. 4 touchdowns for Jalen Hurts. Oh, the dominance continues. Well, we're kind of just running through the who's who. Now we have the Niners, who are a lot better. 93 base defense is kind of absurd for a CPU team to have something built like that. Obviously, not a lot of work need to go. It's probably more of a maintain kind of deal with Fred Warner and Bosa and Hufanga and et cetera, et cetera. But they're still pretty damn good. They have a top 6 offense, number 1 rushing offense, a top 5 rush defense. But for our 3rd straight Super Bowl, what stands between us and that is the 49ers, the 12-5 Niners, and no chance, man. Well, obviously, it was a chance. It was a 1-score game. But look at that. DeJean with the pick. Jalen with the player of the week. And you can't write this one. Our 3rd straight Super Bowl. This is like a dream. Dream rebuild. Dream start for me. And we have a chance to beat the goddamn Chiefs. Well, did not think we'd ever do a 10 rebuild where we would check off a dynasty in our first 3 years, but we have an opportunity here. And Mahomes versus Hurts 2, the Kelsey Bowl 2. This could be the end of Jason Kelsey's career. I can't have that happen off of 2 Chiefs Super Bowl losses, essentially, you know, being his last deep playoff runs. And there we go. The good guys strike first. And I mean, this is a true measure of how good we are. Obviously, the Chiefs haven't made the playoffs the last couple years, but they're a different beast when you finally get there. And being able to beat the Chiefs in a sim setting is gigantic. And as you can see, struggling a little bit, but we get 2 straight scores. It's 3rd and 10. We'll hop right in here, man. We got to get a little taste. We got to get a little taste. And look, a lot of these plays. We'll go close, play action, cross. We're going to try to get this across field to number 6. Devontae Smith should be wide open by the high. He hits the number 10 over there. Boom. And Devontae Smith running the score up. Unless there's a little bit of Mahomes magic late in the 4th. This should be enough. Look at the defense, man. A turnover on downs. We drop 40 on the 48. Keep scoring. Keep going. This is our God squad. We have built something special. I'll tell you right now. I know we got a lot of Eagle fans watching this. Go in right now. The blueprint is out. Put the LA Chargers offense and the scheme, which is like West Coast power, make that your offense, right? That's realistic. We got Kellen Moore. He's coming from the Chargers. His offense in Madden is the LA Chargers. On the defensive side, throw Vic Fangio away. As much as I think it's going to work out in real life, and I'm excited, cautiously optimistic, and maybe it's a better way to put it. Doesn't work in Madden, right? 3-4 sim is bugged. Go 4-3. Get the Buffalo Bills defense. Maybe the sacks aren't going to be crazy, but you get Cooper DeJean playing like a baller, and you yourself, in 3 straight years, can win 3 straight freaking Super Bowls. You can manhandle like no one has manhandled the Chiefs. I'm giving it the MVP. I'm giving the MVP. You look at Hurts, 3 touchdowns. It looks good. Saquon with almost 200 yards on the ground. They're splitting it. And this is already a dynasty going into year 4. How is Jason Kelsey not retiring? I will say in closing, he's not even regressing. Like, I would have even at this point, if he was losing the superstar to Evan and falling down, I would believe it. But look at that. Roth was drafted as a superstar. Richards was earned offensive rookie of the year and jumps up to a superstar. So the rich very much getting richer here, as literally we have no more abilities that we could even activate on the offensive side of the ball. It is absolute insanity. And really, that's like, all right. And we also have guys, depth players in the pipeline that have a whole lot of upside still, which is awesome. On the defensive side, a gigantic depth trade increase here to Cooper DeJean, up to a superstar. I don't know how he got it, to be honest with you. He got a Super Bowl week. I mean, he had 3 picks, but we'll take it. DeJean up to an X Factor. Now it's on Quinyon Mitchell to start developing a little bit more. He's been on that star dev since he's come out the box out of Toledo. On the defensive side, Carter keeps it. Devin White up to a superstar. Trotter gets his dev trait. There we go. Missed it in season, but hits it they just give it to him. So that's pretty cool. And I know what I saw up there beside him. The Canadian, who we gave a contract to, the gamble. After having, his first year as a starter, Sidney Brown up to a superstar. Another player. Don't know how we're getting this. This is literally, I couldn't have written up a better Eagles rebuild. Now, I'm also saying right now, and needs to be understood, every other 10-year rebuild we've done so far has been teams that clearly need a rebuild. I'm doing this because I'm an Eagle fan. I'm doing this because I'm excited about what the Eagles did this offseason. I'm doing this because clearly I did a rebuild of a team that's already a Super Bowl favorite, and we've won 3 straight. But on top of that, the dev traits, the draft picks, we still have 2 first-round picks in this upcoming draft. We're going to need to go, hopefully, I'm going to say right now, I don't know. I haven't checked the scouting. I did focus scout outside linebackers because we need to replace Bryce Huff. But I'll tell you right now, if there looks like to be a generational pass rusher, I might just go get him as well. Maybe a slightly spicy decision here. I'm not going to pick up the 5th-year option of Quinyon Mitchell. That's a lot of money for a corner. I think, again, we pay him and get ahead of the contract like we did with Nolan Smith. I mean, we've been staying out of free agency. I think that's still going to be the best idea for our team right now. We need a pass rusher. That's really our team's only need unless we really want to start thinking about, years down the road. And it's one of those years where, like, all right, Bryce Huff is one of the top dogs available. You have Travon Walker here, but that's a lot of money. $21 million per year. We could afford it, but I think it's best to understand our draft capital here coming up, and hopefully we can find someone there. Now, I hate to be, I don't want to say it's cheesing, but I hate to be kind of just continually kicking these first round pick can down the road. But, I mean, until there's clearly a guy that I really want to strike, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the guy I want to hone in on. I mean, we might as well, as long as we can get offers for it, because I need a pass rusher. We need to replace Bryce Huff. And, you know, a couple nice bigger defensive ends, but, like, not what we're looking for. For example, like, I scout the outside linebackers. We got some first-round talents. Perry Hayden, Walford, probably going to be gone. But there's a shot Hayden would be available near the end of the first round. We got Weatherspoon, who I thought this guy was going to be the best. 6'5", 260. Letter grades looked okay, but the combine was like, all right, he's the best athlete of the bunch here. But there's no premier pass rushers. And let's be honest, when I got 2 first-round picks, I either want to have 2 guys that I'm like, yes, that guy is going to be absolutely elite, or I want to be able to package those to go get a generational type player, at least a player that has a chance to be generational. We lucked out last year with one falling into our lap. But I'm looking at this board right now, and I'm thinking at least with that first-round pick, ours at 32, might just need to take whoever's available. With that first one, if I can kick it down the road and maybe get something a better draft roll next year, I think that's what we do. Oh, man. We got pick 4? Oh, man. So the Jags offered me a 2027 first and a 2028 first. I don't want an extra first round this year, so I went right back to the table and said, how about you give me a first next year and then a first in 2029 to keep this gravy train rolling. Rich get richer. This is the best rebuild possible. Now, I will say the bummer to this is I don't know who to pick. Like, our board kind of got cleaned up. If you're looking for maybe the BPAs, you have Dalton Carter at safety, but like I will say this, athletically speaking, you usually don't see safeties that are that quick. That's standing out, but we just signed Sidney Brown, got a contract extension. Reed Blankenship's getting up there in age a little bit, so to have a safety in the pipeline might not be the worst thing. We also have this corner, Stanley Jenkins out of Colorado State, 3 Bs and an A, the combine, not brutal, not perfect, elite agility. Or the best defender on the D-line here would be getting Lance Carter, who has A tackle, B power move, A block shed, 6'6", 308, elite bench press, pretty good combine, but again, like it's such a crowded room. We extended Jordan Davis. We're clearly not letting Jalen Carter lead, so there'd be no real way for him to get on the field. It's a tough spot, and the only thing that I'm thinking right now is I guess, Reed Blankenship is 29? So maybe just grabbing a younger safety, especially one that has goddamn, no dev trait. Maybe that's what we get for trading all those picks, kind of cheesing the draft here a little bit. I guess we stay with elite traits, and that is Cam Wilbur at D tackle. Again, don't need D tackle, but I guess there supposedly is a scenario where we can't afford Jalen Carter. We get A finesse move here. He is undersized at 295, but A finesse move. B tackle, C block shed, elite speed 4.74. 3-cone drill looks good. Let's go, big dog. And then we'll go back to D tackle because it's BPA, nose tackle cheese, 98 strength, getting the dev trade. Ooh, another one. Blocking elite strength tight ends. Never fail me. So looking at our draft recap, I mean, honestly, the fact that this guy was a normal dev in the first round, even though we flipped, and essentially our first round was 2 additional first round picks and a 77 safety. Not bad optically. But the fact that this guy being a normal dev has been really the only L we've taken so far in this rebuild, pretty damn good. And the fact that he is not going to play right away. Let's see what happens when we shift into strong safety again, because we drafted him more so because Reed, Blankenship, and you're looking at the starters on the defense side of the ball. One of the guys that might be facing regression sooner than others, like Devin White's probably entering that conversation a little bit as well. But 77 ain't bad. Wilbur, hidden dev 73. Harrell 75, hidden dev nose tackle. Butler, hidden dev 71. Backup tight end. Really happy with that draft class. I've always peek around the division. If something's worth talking about, we'll highlight it. And the Giants crushed it. I'll give them credit where credit's due. Down here for them, they end up with a 73 linebacker, 74 guards, 75 running back. Finally, maybe a replacement, successor, whatever you want to call it, for Saquon Barkley, who's crushing it for us. And with their top pick, get themselves a decent little right tackle there. No fucking way. No fucking way. Here I was, first thing I do, start of every season, is you go to a weekly strategy and you make sure, like, your 6 focus players. Usually, they're obviously the guys you want at upside. So for me, I was like, all right, we're going to go Roth. We're going to go Richards, 2 young players, second-year players, have the dev traits. And then our coach used the auto. Look, you don't even see him yet. We used the auto unveiled dev trait and Wilbur, our second-round pick. Call me crazy. Call me a little bit crazy. 295 is getting up there a little bit. That is, like, I have not cheesed a single aspect of this rebuild. This has been 100% organic in Eagles' dream Madden rebuild. Live and in the I'm going to make him a DN. Get him on the 295. It's big. But, you know, that's what? 8 pounds heavier than Cam Jordan, who's a 4.3 D end. So, let's make it work. Plus, you know, this guy was a freak athlete on top. If anyone could do it, he could, like an Aaron Donald type. You know, 78 speed, 83 acceleration. That can work. 84 strength, 81 finesse move. That can work. But the rich getting rich. I wouldn't blame anybody if they didn't believe that I wasn't forcing 16-1 wins behind the scenes. I wasn't, you know, cheesing the draft. This is it. This is as organic as you're gonna freaking see for a draft. We are fucking killing it. Pardon my French. As I go through my roster, we need to always appreciate when you get one of these freaks of nature. So I'm gonna keep them on the roster. Shout out left guard Allen. You've made the final 53. Year 4 for the Eagles, and not as dominant as we have been in past seasons, already with 3 losses, which is 1 loss away of totaling the amount of losses we've had through 3 seasons. But we're still playing pretty well. We have the #1 offense in the NFL. Defense, not the best start, even though we only gave up 17 points. But let's take a look at some contracts here. We have still a lot of money, but we also have a lot of players that are looking to get paid. And you know, we got to start and get the big 2 out of the way. Cooper DeJean, better known as Cooper DeJean in other circles. 5-year, $108 million. You got to stay here. He's developed. He's thrived. He's been everything a second-round pick could be. I also just love the fact Quinyon Mitchell still wants to buy into the program. We don't have to overpay. What do you mean you want to say yes and fully commit? You're full green, and I gave you what you wanted. That's unbelievable. Jalen Carter needs to get paid. We're going to go with player-friendly, and we're going to give him 5-year deal, and we're going to have to just whatever it costs. An unreal player. We talk about regens. He is, at least in Madden franchise mode, like the closest thing. Young enough to be considered like an Aaron Donald regen. A guy that's an absolute game wrecker at defensive tackle. The bad news is that Jeremiah Trotter's getting priced like an edge rusher, which was always going to happen because he's a right outside linebacker. But I think, unfortunately, that might price us out of the Trotter sweepstakes. And I don't really want to do what I might have to do here because of his name. But I'm thinking we fix the mistake from Madden here. Move into middle linebacker. And then that's a reasonable contract. That's still expensive. That is still $10 million a year for an outside linebacker. Like an off-ball linebacker is not cheap. But it is at least not edge rusher money. And we can keep the Axeman here in Philadelphia. We're going to get Quinyon to sign. I also think while we're here with our limited salary cap, clearly there's something going on here. I don't know what it is, but please don't retire. I'll keep you to your 4. You play like you're Tom Brady. I'll give you to your 45. Win year 4 with our worst record of the rebuild, 12-5, and the Dallas Cowboys with 1 win. We beat them. We swept the Cowboys 2-0 in the regular season. However, they handled business when they weren't playing Philadelphia, and they win the NFC. So looking at our rankings, our defense did step it up down the stretch. Our offense still one of the best in all of football, as they should be. We're a 96 overall. Jalen Hurts off the mark a little bit for MVP, considering he was MVP last year. Surprisingly low touchdown. I mean, I think they're across the board. If 29th is just outside top 5 in passing touchdowns, down year, but that's a down year for Jalen Hurts. 4,500 yards, 29 touchdowns, 6 picks. 4-4 there as well. Saquon Barkley definitely did not have a down year, and he's getting old, as he is our only award winner. And look at the cow. Man, I hope we play them at some point in the playoffs. Look, they got 1 and 2 for Offensive Player of the Year. Micah Parsons beats out Nolan Smith. That's going to be interesting to see what the hell he put up. They got Offensive Rookie of the Year. They got Quarterback of the Year. They got Wide Receiver of the Year. They got D Lineman of the Year. They had a runner-up for DB. Okay. Super Team Cowboys this year. And even in a little bit of a down year, like the passing yards were good. We're top 5, so we got 14 and 11 for Devon. Like, that's what I want. This whole rebuild, until clearly these guys are getting old and they're regressing, I want 1,000-yard seasons. 8 and 3 from Richard, 6 and 4 from Eugene Wilson. On the defensive side, 134 tackles for Devin White. We got 15 sacks, Nolan Smith, 12.5 from Jalen Carter. Wow. We are definitely not keeping... I mean, the X Factor guy that we got, we weren't going to, chuck him right into the starting lineup. So, might lose his X Factor. Maybe that wasn't the smartest thing we could have done. Jordan Davis puts up respectable nose tackle numbers. Okay. At least our big dog's 8. That's what I'm happy with. Big dog's 8. Cooper DeJean led the team 3 picks. Get the below 500 Chicago Bears, which, I mean, their defense is solid, and you should know we've done enough Madden rebuilds to know that a sub-500 playoff team is terrifying. That's what ends our dynasty. 8 and 9. Not only that, we let up 30. It wasn't even close. A below 500 team ends our 3 straight Super Bowls. Brutal. Jason Kelce does not retire. Again. At our dev traits, as we close on year 4, we did, however, he's not retiring, but we did lose the superstar on Jason Kelce. And I mean, so I have to obviously modify these rosters to get them ready for these rebuilds, right? Like, I got to go through free agency, make the free agency moves. I got to go through the draft and make sure we get all our draft picks. And I cheese that, I'll tell you right now, just make every pick of our team, like for Eagles, I made everyone like a UDFA so that I could just make sure I picked them and have to deal with other teams drafting them. But I had to force retire Fletcher Cox. Fletcher Cox wasn't ready to retire at all, but I was like, he retired. Had to get rid of Kelce. Just naturally retired. Like, just similar to the offseason, Jason Kelce was the only Eagle that retired. And he just, it's not like I did anything to force, like if I forced him to retire, maybe something weird would happen, and he's getting kind of strung along. They said, nope. He just straight up was back in the free agency pool, and he's playing at 39 years old. I don't know how he's not a team captain, but this is awesome. This is as awesome as all the Super Bowls we've won. Now take a look at dev traits on the defensive side. We got a good role here as Wilbur, who surprisingly was an X factor out of the draft. Did not lose his dev trait. Didn't have a great year, had like 2 sacks, but luckily we were able to maintain. Nolan Smith, with his breakout campaign, makes the jump from star up to a superstar. However, we did see a dev trait regression as we lost a superstar on Sidney Brown. Again, for how our team is built, if this is a rebuild that you want to see big free agency moves, probably not going to happen, at least until some guys retire. I mean, we are starting to get up there in age a little bit, and maybe that will give us big, gigantic gains in salary cap where it makes sense to invest in the open market. But again, with only $28 million, we've done a good job at making sure we're not losing a lot of talent out that front door in terms of free agency. So I think it's been smart kind of rolling over salary. Get Josh Sweat, could have potentially brought him back there. But, hey, it'd be nice to get Dak Prescott out of the NFC East, something that I don't think I want to happen in real life. But in Madden, he's annoying as shit. Now, I do think this is a draft. We got 2 first-round picks, but this is a draft that we consider who's about to leave. Because we're going to have a very tight salary cap next year with Jalen Hurts having to get a bag. We got Kelce. We got Wilson. We got Reed Blankenship. We already drafted that safety because, I was kind of projecting that Reed at 30 likely wasn't going to get re-signed. So we're good at safety. We're going to need a wide receiver 3 potentially. I mean, I'm not going to rule out that we can't be able to re-sign these guys. But, center, our replacement center is coming up for contract. Jake Slaughter, 78-24, because we have Kelce. So that's a weird spot to kind of be in. Jake Elliott, CJ GJ at corner, Mailata at tackle, Landon Dickerson at guard, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Hurts all coming up for contract. I think we're going to have a huge amount of salary cap, but clearly we're going to prioritize you know, these four, right? So I would make the argument maybe corner. Corner might be like where we're going to go in the first, well, at least one of our first round picks, and then maybe pivot towards best lineman available in case we can't keep both Mailata and Dickerson. So because we've masterfully traded first round picks to be able to kick that can down the road, we have 2 first round picks this year, fellas. We have our own pick, which is obviously the playoffs in the 20s, but we have the 6th overall pick, which I'm thinking we're trading it again. I know it's starting to get a little long in the tooth of just kicking these picks down the road, but you know I'm going strike. I'm holding on to these 2 picks, or like this opportunity with 2 first round picks to see a guy that's, you know, in these top 10 players that's like, I have to go get that guy. That hasn't existed. We have not got good. I would be surprised these last 2 draft classes if there's been a player above an 80 overall. Like, we just haven't had that great role. Like this top corner, we might want to consider corner as an area that we want to go. But even this, like, that's not good. You know, the letter grades aren't great. You'd have to have like an elite combine, elite athlete, and you don't even get that. You just get a solid guy. Like, that looks like a guy you'd be happy getting mid first round, not a top 5 pick. Offensive line with Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson up for contract extensions. Kelsey could retire. I did my scouting there. We had Malone, who had A pass block, B run block. Got the rest of the stats. Doesn't look anything special, to be honest with you. We had the top center here, who I just still didn't get. He looks good. I'll be honest with you, Jeffrey. What? But am I gonna draft him with the top? You know, if he's still there when it's time for us to pick with our organic pick or actual Eagle pick, you know, maybe that guy looks pretty damn good. A run block at worst, B pass block, A impact block, B awareness, combine, pretty decent. Could be better. I like the high bench press. I'll scout the top right guard, Steve Staley, 6'6", 338. I like the size there because that guy there could be a guard, could be a tackle, but that's not a guy that we consider at pick number 6. This is absolutely a player that if he's available at our pick, or maybe we trade up from our pick a little bit, you do so, but not with the number 6 selection. Corner is another need for us. Looks like a god-awful. I have not seen a corner class generated this bad in an absolute minute. So, push comes to shove, I think we trade out of pick 6. Hopefully, and we'll definitely be able to get a future first from that one. So looking at all the offers here, didn't get. Ideally, I would get a 22. I'm getting a couple 2 first round pick type deals. Ideally, I'd get a 2029 first and a 2030 first because I don't really want another first this year. But we're not exactly getting that role right now. So the best offer in terms of highest pick this year, while still getting a first round pick, needs to be weighed from these other teams that are giving us like absolute war chests. Because you look here at Dallas, they're throwing in a second this year. You look at Atlanta. So we get real late first rounder, which is almost a second rounder. We get a first rounder this year, first rounder next year. We get a second rounder this year, but that's a late second rounder. But the value is certainly there. It's interesting. I'm definitely going with the 2 first from somebody. Thinking for how I want this board to kind of go this year. 26 first. I think we got to take that one there from Atlanta. There you go. Enjoy it. All right, so the center that I was looking at went off the board. Want to trade up so I at least get that guard. I don't think he was going to fall to me to pick 23. So to move up from 23 to 17, I think is where we went up to. We threw in a 3rd and a 7th this year. I think we paid a pretty decent price here, but we're going to come up and grab a guard. And I think either way, even if we keep Landon Dickerson, Mekhi Becton's getting up there in age a little bit. So I think the guard is still the right play. Steve Staley in the first round out of Clemson. Let's go. Now here's where we go with the unique blind pick, which is sure as shit one. The unique blind pick, or do we not go with the unique blind pick? And do we try to make sense of who the? I mean, there's no cheesy corner pick that we can walk right into, which is a little bit of a bummer. We do got guys here at safety. I mean, this guy looks decent. Andrew Dawson has the B zone coverage. Man coverage kind of in the butt, butt cheeks there a little bit. But B zone coverage. Reed Blankenship's getting old. Sidney Brown losing dev trait. So even though we got a safety last year, could double dip at safety. But And this is a dumb pick here, right? This pick I'm about to show you is a dumb pick. Just athletically speaking, fast running backs don't really exist. And Adrian Avant ran a 4.2 speed running back. Top 5 of the 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle. Doesn't have elite speed. But a 4.2 speed running back, I don't know about you guys. Maybe I'm just not drafting running backs early enough to see these prospects. I don't see that a lot. So I'm going to imagine this guy here has like 95, 96 speed, which is very unique for a running back. Gene T is going to be a free agent. Saquon probably has 1 year left before we just got to let him go. I don't know if we're going to get into the 1 year. I'm going with a unique player. We got to go with a 94 speed, 94 acceleration. I felt really confident about the depth chart. I don't know what the rating is, though. We had a blind pick. He could be like a 71, 72 and not be that great of a rating for a first rounder, but I'll take the dev trade and the upside just because I do think there might be some moving pieces in our running back room within the next season or two, and this is a cheap running back. Now, another position where we're getting a little bit older is Devin White. I think he's pretty much at his ceiling in terms of growth and development. Still a good player. We got Braxton Manley here in the second round. We have 2 second-round picks. A zone, A tackle, B block shed, 6'2", 240. And usually when you see a guy that's like runs the 4.50, first in the 3-cone 4, they're like 5'11", 220. The fact that we're getting 6'2", 240, built like an old school player. Welcome to the Eagles. With another pick in the second round, the only corner that looks somewhat decent is Trey Langford. B-man, C-zone, B catching, 6'3", and he has elite acceleration, great speed. Ran a 4.32 at his pro day. 20-yard shuttle is not great. I wouldn't be surprised if there's no dev trade here, but could be, a 70-plus player, which will take that depth to our corner room. And, I find these guys every time they exist. Every time they exist, I'm going to draft him. Cordell Macklin out of Clemson, 5'9", 176. Complete blind pick, but he ran a 4.24. And his 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle are second best in the whole draft. Welcome to the Philadelphia Eagles. Probably could have got you in the 6th round, but I'll take you now so that you're mine. Kind of looking around the NFC East, only team that had and landed like a big-time player, I would say, are the Commanders here getting Jalen Coleman in terms of rating. But even then, this is the best pick I could find between the other teams in the NFC East, and it's 75 normal. They got a 74 tackle in the second round, hidden dev. That's probably the best value pick as well. Until you look at what the Philadelphia Eagles did. The strong cape getting stronger. Steve Staley, 75 hidden dev. Avant, 76 hidden dev. Now, I will say the perspective is like we've done enough of these 10-year rebuilds that we found that like guy, that day 3 projected running back that usually has like a carry, a break tackle. They're usually 74 to 76 with a hidden dev. So having to get one of those in the first round, value certainly not there. Just outright on top of the fact that you just don't draft running backs in the first round anymore. But that guy's a stud. And, Gene T, star dev running back, RB2, he's going to free agent. I'm not paying him. Saquon Barkley, if tough roster decisions need to be made, probably the expensive running back is going to be one of the first guys on the tip of the chopping block there. We got Manley, 73 hidden dev. Langford, 72 normal. Macklin, 74 hidden dev. Yes, sir. Crushed it. Absolutely crushed it. And now we're getting offers from Gene T, 81 star dev running back, entering a contract year. So I assume everyone that I'm getting offered is also in a contract year. We got Peter Towns. I wish I knew what style of receiver he was. 77 with a dev trip, but we just got one of those. Look at this offer. We got Jacoby Myers, but Hickman from the Giants. 77 star dev guard. Thanks. Picking the pace here a little bit. Year 5 midseason undefeated. Philadelphia Eagles back on top. Number 1 offense, number 1 defense. Even though the individual rankings aren't the best, our team is very good. But here was always going to be the problem. We have got to pay, and we do not have a lot of money. We do not have enough money just to blanket pay, blind pay every single player. So we have $89 million, and I think clearly you got to start with the quarterback. You can't let Jalen Hurts go anywhere. 4-year, 59. Oh my God. All right, 4-year, $259 million. Done. Now we got Devontae Smith. Oh my God. So we're going to be able to pick and choose. I mean, I clearly want Devontae here. It's been elite. But, we're going to be losing a lot of good men to sacrifice that. And I will say, it's a little harsh. We've managed our salary cap very well to come to one point like this where I can only get 2. I was hoping I'd get 3 minimum, if not have a chance at both getting Devontae, throwing a reasonable offer at Dickerson, and a reasonable offer at Jordan Mailata. We're able to get Devontae Smith over the line, throwing another $200,000 his way via bonus. But unless we get a really good roll, this might be the end of our offensive line, Jason Kelce included. Oh, 17-0! Maybe even better, we got $36 million of salary cap that we could throw at maybe a player or 2. Jalen Hurts wins his 3rd MVP, and he had 29 touchdowns a year ago. Now he has 42 with no interceptions. Why? Where's the consistency at? Like, don't give me the highs. I'd take the average, you know? Instead of having a 29 touchdown season where you go 12-5 and we lose in the first round of the playoffs to a below 500 team, how about you just give me like a constant 35 touchdowns, 2 picks or something like that? Somewhere in the middle. Saquon continues to crush it, 1,600 yards, 19 touchdowns. Hurts right there. Decent rushing yards. Avant. I want to go look, man. We are 1 snap off of his dev trait. I'm going to guess it's star, though. Obviously, with a perfect season, which I think is our 2nd of our 10. Let me go double check. Have we ever done this? I know we've done 16-1 a couple times. This is our first 17. We went 16-1 with the Bills and 16-1 with the New England Patriots. So this is our, I mean, again, this has been my just glazing the Eagles type rebuild. That's just how it's happened, man. This has been unreal. Our first 17-0. Who knew losing to a below 500 team to end our Super Bowl dynasty would be what sparks this team, and also the fact that we're definitely going to have a gigantic drop-off going into year 6. So I'm glad everyone's put it together. Look, we have Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, all in the top 5 of Offensive Player of the Year. Not much on defense. It's fine. Jalen Hurts, quarterback of the year. Saquon Barkley, running back of the year. Devontae Smith was runner-up for wide receiver. No A.J. Brown, which is slightly concerning. Mekhi Becton, top 5 for lineman of the year. Landon Dickerson and Mailata also make that list. We have Wilbur, our X Factor, making D lineman of the year shortlist along with Nolan Smith. Nothing for linebacker. And DB Quinyon Mitchell, his best year as an Eagle. Number 4, Cooper DeJean making the top 10. And with the stats, yeah, oof. Definitely a down year from A.J. Brown. Might be a little worried about him keeping that X Factor. Good year to John Richards. Eugene Wilson steps up. Of course, the year that he's set to be a free agent. But Devontae, I mean, we barely got under the salary cap books, extending him, and he's been well worth the price. 92 catches, almost 1,500 yards, 12 touchdowns. On the defensive side, Devin White, over 100 tackles again. It's what he does. 10 sacks, Wilbur, 9.5, Nolan Smith, 8 from Jordan Davis, 5 from Jalen Carter. Weird year from Jalen Carter for sure. Did not expect him to be the bottom of the list. Quinyon Mitchell led the team with 4 picks, 3 from White, Blankenship, Cooper, and Sidney Brown. You love that. Interceptions definitely up across the board for our defense. Oh, no. All right, well, we got a perfect 99 offense. 95 overall equals the highest rating team we've had in a rebuild, which was literally the last rebuild we did, where we had 95s across the board for the Denver Broncos. But we've never had a 99. We got a 99. We're going against a sub-500 team. Perfect season on the line. That set itself up too easy to be an L, but unfortunately for the Rams, we handled business 31-28 into the NFC Championship game against a team that's 1 game above 500. We're going to show respect because I want to try to complete and have our first perfect season. Shout out to our Arizona Cardinals Madden 24 franchise mode, which the playoff run for that is coming out very shortly. Come on, perfect season. At least get to the Super Bowl in the perfect season. You can't stop, for fuck's sakes. Caleb Williams and the Falcons ends our perfect season at 18-1. I want Jason Kelce retired. It's going to pay me not to be able to offer him more money. All right, we got $12 million. So with that, we'll pick up the 5th-year option to Joe Roth, 95 superstar tackle. I don't think there's any, we can't fit Landon Dickerson's offer on, so he's going to be gone. Could get Eugene Wilson long term, especially with A.J. Brown slowing down. There's no way we can get Chauncey Gardner Reed, no. Slaughter, no. Mailata, he wants 28 for 1 year. Good God. Thank you very much. Jason Kelsey, I almost feel like I have a duty to do this. I have to. Until he retires, can we get... If we didn't have Kelsey, I think I would have extended Eugene Wilson, but... Okay. This is going to be a tough one. Next year's going to be tough. When I sim the next week and I have almost $29 million of salary cap, where did that come from? That would have been enough to at least get Eugene Wilson. All right, so looking at our offense after the changes, it's all right. We're surviving a little bit. I'm taking Roth, who's a right tackle. We're going to make him our left tackle. Becton is at guard. Hickman, who we traded Ginty for, is going to be a guard. Obviously, Kelsey is Kelsey. And then Staley, our first-round pick last year at guard, who is gigantic at 6'6", 300. So clearly could make a switch to tackle, even though he should not be rocking that Lane Johnson number. But our offensive line is going to survive here. We had no dev trait regression outside of A.J. Brown, which was kind of expected, slipped up a little bit from his X-Factor form. However, the speedster, Macklin, that we got late in the draft, popped as a superstar dev, so that certainly eases the sting of the loss of Eugene Wilson, who was a very productive wide receiver 3 who played and performed like our wide receiver 2 last year. I think the fact that we're losing Jordan Mailata, who's a top 5 tackle, Landon Dickerson, who's a top 5 guard, we lost Eugene Wilson, who you could certainly make the argument, one of the best wide receiver 3s. He still looks pretty decent. Avant popped with a star dev, which is a little bit of a wet fart given the athletic profile, but is what it is. However, we did have some regression on the defensive side of the ball. We're going to have a step down as we let Reed Blankenship walk. Carter's going to need to step up at strong safety. Dev traits remain the same for the linebackers. Sidney Brown, DeJean keeps his X-Factor. Wilbur keeps his X-Factor. However, one down year, and Jalen Carter loses his X-Factor. I think that's kind of harsh. Nolan Smith loses his superstar, which again is pretty tough. But I do think going into the offseason, we lost Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, so that corner 3, nickel corner, definitely a position I need. If BPA is a safety that we see that has a dev trait, has some upside, especially because Sidney Brown's pretty much at his ceiling, that's definitely an area we could look at. But, gigantic losses, and I still think we're looking okay coming out of it. So I've been saying, we've been kicking these first-round pick down the road until there's a guy that's worth going to get. Evan Michaels. B blocks at B tackle? Yeah. A finesse move, A power move. That gets you to go, okay. Florida Gator bias. Certainly helping his case. And then he just puts up elite and everything. So, let's see. He's projected to go second. If we want him, we are going to have to trade up to second. Our highest first-round pick oh my God, is 16th. I did also scout the top corner available. It is Quincy Newhouse, A3Bs. But to make the jump, I need to go 14 spots in the first round. 16, and we got pick 20, 30. 16 and 30, and we have 31. We have 3 first-round picks. If I could trade 2 of them and get up, I was kind of thinking maybe I trade 1 of them and Nolan Smith. We'll see. Right now, I'm not trading up to the first pick. I'm going to gamble that this is going to be that tackle off the board, which it is. Let's see if Green Bay wants to do business. 16 and a prime Nolan Smith, who is off a down year, but a year before, 15.5 sacks and was runner-up for defensive lineman of the year. Oh, of course, they got no fucking salary cap. Oh, we are close. So I had to throw in Herbig and Christian Watson as I'm just going to release them if I get them. So if I throw in... Our high is 3rd. Is that enough? Oh, what? What if I throw in... Please let me just get this one over. I'll throw in my 2 7ths as well. That got to be enough. Nolan Smith, thank you for your We don't feel this brings enough. You mother... Both thirds. Both thirds. Let's go get our guy. And you know me, acting as Howie Roseman, that Florida Gator bias flows through his veins as well. And we're going to get maybe the best Florida Gator prospect I've seen since Tim Tebow. Pause. I think at the asset of the first, I don't love I don't like this pick at all, but it's probably the one we need to make. John Goodart, we need a third corner. B press, A zone, C man, B catch, 5'11". Combine ain't brutal. Not my favorite combine, but not the dev trait we were looking for. Not shocked that he's not a great player. In terms of, like, he's not an A, S tier prospect, more of a B tier first round pick. I think Mekhi Becton's probably next guy up on the chopping block potentially, so we're going to go out and grab Joe Sharp. Oh my God. 3 first round picks, and only one of them is a good one. All right, we're going to get a set here. We have Raheem Davidson, blind pick as well, but combine looks pretty good. Has B pass block. At this point, I mean, this draft class can't get any worse. So you know what I found? I found a 6'5", 294-pound quarterback. Yep, sure did. Welcome. No other way to put it. 17-0, losing in the playoffs, where, like, you know, and we're over the salary cap. And my draft after my first pick, which is clearly going to be awesome. Not, you know, I didn't, you know, we get the 62 meme quarterback, bunch of 60s kind of rounded out. 71 normal, 72 normal, 75 normal. 75 normal, 72 normal in the first round is disgustingly bad by my standards. And I mean, I think we got, you know, a solid value. Had to get rid of Nolan Smith, who was a good player for us, but very hot and cold. And we got probably a generational pass rusher, which I suppose is worth it at the end of the day. 90 finesse move, 87 speed, 89 acceleration, 86 strength, 79 tackle, 76 awareness, 80 pursuit. Yeah, this guy's a freak. First bit of news is just confirming what we thought. Evan Michaels is a superstar X-Factor pass rusher. We got at least our guy on top of what was not a great draft class. So coming off an undefeated season, we've slipped up a couple times. 5-2 to start this year. We're coming off a close 35-31 loss to the Commanders with Jalen Hurts still playing very good football. 4 touchdowns on the day. However, this is where things look rough. John Richards has justified a contract extension. He's been very good. He's playing better than Dallas Goedert was for us. Superstar tight end, kept his depth trait. Ceiling might be like 95, 96. Can't pay ya at all. I mean, kind of close. Maybe if we get some additional salary coming in the year. And then we got A.J. Brown, who's been outstanding until really last year. We started showing signs of age. Looks like he's going to be gone. We got Devin White, who's also been outstanding. Can't pay middle linebackers, especially when salary caps this tight. We got Greg Moody, who's our corner 3. We got Saquon Barkley, who's been outstanding. But we were also kind of planning for this. We've drafted his successor. His regression is starting to add up here. And clearly we know, you know, we're going to keep this going as long as we possibly can. But definitely we'll do a full-on kind of career recap for some of those dudes. And hey, hopefully we can get them one more Super Bowl here in year 6. And we close out year 6 with a NFC East title, back-to-back 13-4. Everyone else kind of had a down year in the East. Looking at our rankings, I mean, not bad. 3rd offense, 3rd defense. Wish the passing yards were a little bit better. Wish the passing defense was a little bit better. Jalen Hurts finishes 3rd in the MVP race. Yards, a little bit off the mark, but 32 touchdowns to 3 interceptions is still pretty good. 500 yards rushing with another 2 tuds. Saquon in his final year as an Eagle. Played at a very high level, and I think IRL, obviously he's not going to put probably those numbers in real life, but it'd be amazing if he could. It would be said, in 6 seasons, that is the 5th Coach of the Year award for Nick Sirianni. We don't have much for award winners, but we do get Quarterback of the Year going to Jalen Hurts, and Defensive Rookie of the Year going to Evan Michaels. Look at the receiving stats. Devontae Smith, you know, we at least got to pat ourselves on the back in at least the clouds of decision-making and who do you keep. Because essentially, we'd obviously have to commit to either Devontae Smith a little bit long-term, which we did, because his contract came up. But you can't, you know, we would have had to pick and choose. Do you keep Devontae? Do you keep A.J. Brown? And, I mean, Devontae, 2 years younger, still playing at a high level. A.J. Brown's production has fallen off a cliff. Richards is a tough one. He has been, like, putting up big-time numbers at tight end. And I do think if we get a little extra salary cap before we hit into it, between, you know, Richards, A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley, those are some of the big names. Devin White. I think Richards would be the guy that I'd be most inclined to play because he has been consistent. Macklin, our superstar wide receiver, who's going to definitely go up the depth chart, might not be a superstar next year, which would sting a little bit. I'd love to just transition A.J. Brown out and just pop in a superstar to take his place. but I'm preparing to see them. You know, that's kind of stat line there. Totally, if you regress, you can't really complain too much about it. On the defense side, Devin White killed it, absolutely killed it. Michaels killed it as a rookie. That's generational stats for a rookie. 67 tackles, 17 TFLs, 12 sacks, 11.5 for Jalen Carter. Hopefully that's enough to bump him back up to an X factor. Wilbur with 7.5 on 11, 5 from Jordan Davis. Love the production. Brown with 2 picks, Trotter 2, Quinyon with 2, DeJean with 1. All right numbers. Definitely down from last year where we had crazy interception numbers. And just so I don't forget, Saquon Barkley. Right now at this point in time, I don't think he's going to retire. Probably going to keep on keeping on, but we'll round that up. Generous 15,000 yards rushing, 155 career touchdowns on top of 3,700 yards receiving, 25 touchdowns. So as far as all-time, he is 5th all-time in rushing yards. He is 2nd all-time and 1 season away from... Oh, man, that'd be cool to see him break that record, but can't pay him. For A.J. Brown, another guy very close on these record lists. 822 catches, 13,000 yards, 99 touchdowns. Would have been cool to see him get number 100 in an Eagles uniform. And on the defensive side, Devin White is wrapping up his time here in Philadelphia with 1,270 tackles, 67 TFLs, 32 sacks, 24 picks, an absolute beast. Big, you know, obviously IRL expectations kind of low on Devin White. I think a lot of Eagles fans are still a little uncertain about what's going on with the linebacker spot, but hell of a guy to have on your team in Madden. This is where we've been before, 13-4, sitting atop the East, and we beat a team below 500 in the playoffs. It just so happened to be our bitter divisional rivals. And we could have lost to Dallas. We've lost to below 500 teams before, but we handled business 35-17 with a player of the week performance on offense and defense. 5 touchdowns for Jalen Hurts, 2 sacks for the beast, Jalen Carter. And that puts us in the NFC Championship game against the 9-8 Atlanta Falcons, who are spotty, but they have the number 1 rushing offense, almost a top 5 offense overall, and a top 5 rushing defense. 90 overall team. They got Caleb Williams. They beat us last year. Look at that classic 29-28 1-point victory in the championship game. Back-to-back defensive player of the week performances from Jalen Carter, and the Eagles are back in the Super Bowl. Before the Super Bowl, we got 3 upgrade points for your reigning defending defensive player of the year, Evan Michaels. Was that the name of the guy from Poison? Every rose has it. That's Brett Michaels? Burt, right? He's that good, though. He's that good that he can sing ballads. Okay? 92 X Factor finishing his rookie campaign is ridiculous. Hopefully with a Super Bowl trophy as well. And you can't deny that these are the 2 best teams. 1 seed and the 1 seed. The 14-3 Vegas Raiders. Number 2 offense, number 2 rushing offense, top 5 defense, number 2 rushing defense. But they ain't good as us. 93s across the board. You thought we were gone. We lost a lot. Landon Dickerson, gone. Jordan Mailata, gone. All these different players, gone. But we're back in the Super Bowl better than ever. We can persevere better than any team in the league. Let's go, baby. Hurts against Arch Manning. Wow, okay. That's an interesting matchup. Seeing why Vegas is where they're at. They got themselves a quarterback. And that's a turnover from the Eagles offense. Still looking to get some points on the board. We have to settle for a field goal with a chance to get a little touchdown. 2-for-1 action to open up the second half, which we do. But unfortunately, it's 3-0. Very low scoring game. But I'll tell you what, we got to trust the defense in this Super Bowl matchup. I'm taking my defense every day of the week. However, our offense has just been getting field goals, punting the football, has not been a good showing. We have a minute 46. Oh, we get a touchdown! 4th and 12. We still got the 3 times we can cash in, and with these freaks on defense. Uh-oh. All right, we're going right back into it. No smokes and mirrors. 19-14, Super Bowl on the line. Our 4th Super Bowl. Game crashed because my defense is so good. They literally were like, how do we load this up? This is a defense that has immense talent. We know they're going to insta-sack somebody. All right? Arch Manning scared. Use the... You know what? It probably was pretty good because we went to a 0 blitz. And that's not exactly what we want. But we're going to go with the rookie, Michaels. Let's game wreck this. Oh my God, Moody pick! Go! That is how you ice it! The best defense in the league! 4 Super Bowls! Go Birds! Get out of here. We got a little bit of garbage time. Let's go, man. 3-0 playoff run. Super Bowl win versus Las Vegas. 4 Super Bowls. Ties the record that we've hit in these 10-year rebuilds, and we still got 4 years left to get 5 and make this Eagles rebuild, you know, the pace car. What every other rebuild from here on out is compared to. But you know what? Happy for the old fucks. You know? A.J. Brown gets to go to the Super Bowl. Devin White gets to go out with a Super Bowl. Saquon Barkley gets to go out with a Super Bowl. Who gets MVP? Probably give it Jalen Hurts. So Saquon Barkley retires before Jason Kelce. Kelce's coming back for a year. Well, I mean, I don't know what year it would be, but he's going to be 41. We do have $18 million of salary cap at the end of the year. Moody, who got that pick in the Super Bowl, did go up dev trade. He's been on normal for a minute. 5th-year option for Carter. I mean, I'm not rushing for that. These are all pretty expensive guys right now at this point. Got enough for the tight end, but we probably just draft a tight end, I guess. Like, that could be where we shift our focus in the first round, but we also are going to need a replacement for A.J. Brown. I mean, honestly, Moody, if he wants to come back at this price, probably the best guy we could bring back, and we just got to get younger. It's one of those years again. Hey, Mahomes, you know, at least the Chiefs are also down bad a little bit, but look at the top free agents. It's our tight end. It's Jordan Mailata. It's A.J. Brown. It's one of them. Hey, it's Devin White, who's still an X factor, but we're going to have to. I mean, we've drafted generally pretty well. Got Jake Elliott there, well, Jake the Make. We've drafted very well, and that needs to continue, especially with the talent that we have just lost. So looking at where we got to go, the good news is that Macklin keeps his superstar dev to step up at wide receiver 2. We had a successor in place for Saquon Barkley. Avant is now our starting running back. You know, you can always, I would say, like, adding a lineman at some point might not be the worst, just because Roth is going to be super expensive. There's a shot that, clearly, we want to re-sign him. He's one of the best players on our team. Highest ceiling player probably in the offense right now. But if not, I think if we can land like a lineman early, first, second, third round, get like one of those 74, 75 hidden dev guys, regardless of position, I will take that. We got Butler stepping up at tight end, but if there's a really good tight end, we might want to look long-term. But wide receiver 3, as far as starters are concerned, would like to get maybe a value wide receiver later on. And the defense is pretty good. We got a Jalen Carter back up to an X factor after breakout year, giving us our 3 there on the D-line. Our D-line is stacked. While we did just lose an X factor in Devin White linebacker, I think Manley and Trotter Jr., we run primarily nickel. Those are our 2 linebackers on the field. We're good. Safety room, Carter didn't pick up his 5th-year option, but still an 80. It ain't bad. Cindy Brown still solid. DeJean did lose his X factor, but 99 superstar, ain't mad about that. Quinyon Mitchell, 91. We have Moody. We just picked up on a 2-year deal. Huge Super Bowl performance. Maybe that can propel him into, you know, the 2-year contract for him to continue to develop. But ultimately, I mean, you're looking at the defense. You know, yeah, sure, maybe a linebacker. Trotter is get up there and needs a little bit. But generally, even though we're just a lot of talent leaving out this building, I don't think we have an immediate, like, that has to be where we go. We could be sitting there waiting for BPA in this draft. So as we kick our feet up and wait for pick 32 in the first round of the 2030 draft, need to make it clear that my focus scout this year was wide receiver, because I knew we were going to lose A.J. Brown. And I'll tell you this, did not see a lot of wide receivers that were making me go, yes, sir, that's who I want in the first round. And all the ones that I did want are off the board. And even then, didn't look like anyone was, you know, screaming, that's the guy that we want to need. Now, then we can pivot towards best player available on the offensive line, which certainly is a discussion to be had. Top projected play here. We got a couple nice looking centers. Jason Ferguson, with that size and profile, looks like he can play a lot of different spots. 6'5", 320, A run back, B pass block. Combine, not bad. Not great, not bad. Ramon Garcia also looks like he could be kind of solid here. Elite speed. There's a little bit of a Kelce successor, even though it feels like he's just not ever going to retire. A couple guards look solid, but I mean, I don't think that's 100% where we have to go. Looking at the linebackers that are available, sometimes you can get like a sneaky first-round linebacker. We have A. Leon Moss. I guess that's how you pronounce it. B-zone, B-block. You really would love to see the A-zone, but he has elite speed and jumping. 4.42 for linebacker. That is a unique trait right there, but we don't need a linebacker It'd be nice, I guess, you'd have like that third guy and a successor and a young buck in place, but for the most part, you have to almost be an S-tier player. And the secondary, safety is another position we could go, and I did scout. It looked like there was a chance there might be an A on Hurd. We do get 4 Bs across the board, which is pretty good. And the combine also ticks a lot of boxes. Second in the 40-yard dash, looking at his pro day. First in the 20-yard shuttle. First in the jump. First in the vert. He's best player on our board, and we'll go. We get ourselves a hidden depth safety and a successor. Sidney Brown probably entering his last season as an Eagle, so we get a successor in place. All right, next up, we're going to go best lineman available, and that is going to be DeJean Hyde. A, pass block, B, run block. Combine, not the best. We'll trust the letter grades, and we get a dev trait lineman. However, with that size, too, that's unique size. That's the kind of guy who can play anywhere on the interior. I hate the board. I got a rush pick here. I'll rush pick. A hidden dev lineman every day of the week, even though we don't need it. It's just the board, not great right now. Looking at our draft recap, feel pretty good about it. At least the first 4 picks. 4th round here, we need that wide receiver 3. We got Enrique Hodges. And, not a crazy profile, but I'll tell you what, 99 spec catch. You always get guys that stick out like a sore thumb when you're trying to just blind pick players, which we'll take. We felt good about Chris Calhoun, the panic pick, because he had a dev trait. 63 rating is rough. 75 hidden dev for Hyde. 76 hidden dev for our first round pick. The best pick, pound for pound, in the NFC East this year, which we dominate. Every year we have won. There's not been a Commanders, Cowboys, or Giants draft that's been able to hold a light to any of our drafts so far. And the rich get richer here in year 6 as the Super Bowl champions. So year 7, I was expecting the regression to happen this year, and that's kind of where we're at. 4-3 is not a bad spot, trailing the Giants in the NFC East. When you look at our rankings, though, not a lot to be happy, but I did not expect Jalen Hurts to regress, along with, the lack of talent that we've lost. And take a look at our contracts here. Salary cap finally going up a little bit. We have Joe Roth at tackle. Pretty much just, that's the Band-Aid you got to rip off. We have 17 remaining. We have Wilbur, who's very much need to take off the dev trade hat and look at the production. He's been solid, but he's not our go-to pass rusher, especially drafting Michaels. So I feel like we might be able to save a little bit of money there. We have Hickman at guard, 82-24. We can lock him in for the remainder of the rebuild, not have to worry about it. He's interested in returning. We have $9 million remaining. We have a lot of guys here, man. We drafted Sidney Brown's successor. I'm fine. Jordan Davis has been good, but we don't have nowhere near the money to pay him. Butler at tight ends, kind of just been a guy. Harrell's always just been a depth guy. He hasn't even started yet. So I think, yet again, clearly there's a bug going on, but we are going to re-sign Jason Kelsey until he no longer wants to play football anymore. And we actually get some trade offers. We can't pay Harrell, and we got I'm going to assume, this is just an assumption, that Harrington at 78 might be under contract more long-term, so I'll take the cheaper contract and more years versus a guy that we just got to let walk anyways. That's how you finish the year. Second offense, second defense, 13-4, another NFC East championship when things didn't look great. We got hot when we needed to. Jalen Hurts gets his 4th MVP of the rebuild, which ties him second all-time with Aaron Rodgers, one behind Peyton Manning with his 5 MVPs, but that is clearly in our sights, a goal we want to hit. Sirianni with his 6th Coach of the Year award in 7 seasons. For Jalen Hurts, 8th in yards, 2nd in touchdowns have been low across the board. Like usually, last year, whatever year we had it down here, we had 29. That was still 6th in the league. 34 being 2nd, also kind of low. 2 interceptions to his name. Avant stepped out, obviously clearly not Saquon Barkley in the backfield, but did a solid job. Jalen Hurts, 400 yards and 6 touchdowns as well. Our wide receiver 3, our only other award winner with a 99 spec catch, Enrique Hodges, wins Offensive Rookie of the Year. Devontae Smith continuing to crush it and just play at a really high level. 91 catches, 1,300 yards, 11 touchdowns. Macklin, the superstar, 860 and 6. 8 and 10 from Butler. 6 and 6 from Hodges. No one really killing it. But Devontae is still playing at a high level, which is great into his later years. You guys know that he was a Heisman Trophy winning wide receiver. For God's sakes, the Axeman leads the team in tackles, 127. 4 TFLs, 2 sacks. The rookie, first-round pick, DeShaun Hurd, 111. Now, I think he was our second sub-linebacker. Superstar Dev for the first-round pick. Let's go. And I mean, we kind of paid our dues. Even though, yes, we got an X Factor a couple years, last year's in, we still had 3 first-round picks, and we ended up with 2 normal devs out of our 3 picks. So we definitely need to bounce back in a big way. We got 12.5 sacks, 18 TFLs, Jalen Carter, 11 sacks from Wilbergs in a contract year, which that's annoying. I kind of would have liked to see Michaels play a little better. But hey, Michaels still pretty good. I don't think I'm really that worried that he'll lose his X Factor. 15 TFLs, 69 tackles, 9 sacks. Should be good enough to keep it. DeJean and Quinyon lead the team with 2 picks, but from where we were like 2 years ago where we had, I don't even know, 20 total interceptions, it felt like, across the board. Definitely on a cold streak back-to-back years with our interception numbers. On the first round of the playoffs, we have the 11-6 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Number 6 offense. They have a top 10 passing defense. I mean, we're the better team. Should be. We handle business. 38-17. Starting out with a big-time Jalen Carter, man. He has crushed it. Last year in the playoffs, he won 2 straight Defensive Player of the Week performances, playing his best football in the playoffs, like Von Miller-esque. And with that win, we are taking on the Green Bay Packers with the Super Bowl on the line, and our Philadelphia Eagles team that has lived in the NFC Championship game. We got the experience. Jordan Love didn't go nuclear or anything like that. 4,100 yards, 28 touchdowns, 4 picks. Not a bad year, but they still have the number 1 offense against the number 2 offense. We, however, have the big advantage on the defensive side of the ball. We'll give them credit where credit is earned. They do have the number 1 rushing defense, but it's not like we got Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts, killing it on the ground. We are very much a passing team, and it's a rematch of last year's Super Bowl, the Raiders and Eagles. Jalen Hurts, Player of the Week, 377 yards, 3 touchdowns. Let's freaking go, baby. But standing in our way of a 5th Super Bowl in 7 seasons is a team that's barely above 500. It's a team that got here on their defense and run game. They play old school football, top 5 rushing offense, top 5 defense with the number 1 pass, number 2 rush. They're not better than us. We are going to get our 5th Super Bowl. We're going to get the most. We're going to set a new record for our 10-year rebuilds with no better team here on this channel anyways than the Philadelphia Eagles. And when you're going up against an elite defense, it's good to have a 4-time MVP, the reigning MVP, pulling the strings on your offense. And the Eagles strike first, going up 7-zip. Raiders able to equalize here to get something going into the second half, but it does definitely look like it's going to be a low-scoring game, which could favor the Raiders slightly, but I mean, we're talking like they have an elite defense. So do we, especially on paper. But they are getting us to settle for field goals. We're not getting touchdowns. So full kudos to them. But we end the third with a touchdown to go up 19-7. Our defense is suffocating. We've been there, done that. The Raiders are a team very good, but clearly in that spot of like struggling to get over the hump. And while they made it close at the end, that is another 3-0 playoff run. That is another Super Bowl win, back-to-back versus the Vegas Raiders. Sorry, it's not your time. It's very, almost impossible to make 2 straight Super Bowls if you don't got a Mahomes-type guy, and they don't. They got Arch Manning, who's also, pretty badass. But that is Super Bowl 5, MVP, 4 for Jalen Hurts. We're never going to. I'm not gonna say never. But what I am going to say is that it's always good to have a rebuild like this. I would have been annoyed if we had this amount of success, say it was a Cowboys rebuild or a Giants rebuild or a Commanders rebuild. But it's a good thing to have this because this is now what we're going to aspire to. This is now the ceiling of what, there's going to be a rebuild. We're going to rebuild the Jags. We're going to rebuild the Raiders, whatever it's time. And we're going to have a team that's going to be elite. We're going to have a team that wins all the time. But from here on out, for the rest of these 10-year rebuilds, we're going to be chasing what we're accomplishing here with the Philadelphia Eagles. 5 Super Bowls, we still got 3 years left. And some may say the magic to this success is 42-year-old Jason Kelce still being the heart and soul of this team. He's not retiring again. Just for those wondering, Super Bowl MVP, we'll give it to Jalen Hurts. About time we spent a little bit in free agency. Butler had a breakout year for us at tight end. We did let him hit the open market, but went up to superstar dev. We had a little bit of wiggle room, like $27 million worth of cap. His contract wasn't brutal, so we're going to bring him back. Mekhi Becton, been a great staple to our offensive line, redeemed his career after ending with the Jets, but he left at starting left guard. So we got Mr. Peaky Blinders himself, James Shelby, 78 star dev, to come in and kind of be a stopgap for the remainder of this rebuild. All right, so looking at where our squad is, we have, you need 3 interior linemen. That's what we got, Shelby. Yes, we have Hyde, who we drafted, but at any moment, Kelce could retire. So to have someone that we can just shift inside the center, it's always at least worth investing in that spot. We have Avant entering the contract year. I did not pick up his 5th-year options because he's a running back. Hodges, Rookie of the Year, just a dev trade did not go up dev. We obviously got Devontae, got Macklin, we brought back Butler. So the offense looks pretty good just because we didn't pick up the 5th-year option. Could be not a brutal year if BPA happens to be a running back. There's a great-looking running back, big-time athlete at running back. We could go that direction in the draft. But I'm totally looking at the defense as where we need to go. We got Michaels and Carter, but we have lost a lot. Jordan Davis, gone. Depth is gone. We did trade for Harrington, so it's solid for like a rental, but we definitely need to look at getting another pass rusher. We're fine at linebacker. We do need likely a strong safety at some point. Quinyon Mitchell, love seeing him go up dev trait. He used to be that star since the very beginning, but at 28, having a little bit of a career, which you love to see. We also got Hurd, who was a superstar out of the box, develop into an X Factor. Don't really know how or why he didn't really have a crazy year, but you know what? This has been very much a rich get richer rebuild, and I'm glad it's not stopping. All right, here we go. Pick 32. I mean, I will say, we've drafted very well, considering this has been pretty much our pick range this whole rebuild. In terms of position and need, kind of filled out a short list here. Need a new starting strong safety. Could get better at defensive tackle. Edge rush is our biggest need, but you're not really going to get an edge rush at 32. Could also look at running back. Looking at the running backs that are available, I think this is going to be a wait and see kind of deal. You know, just kind of looking big picture. This guy looks like those power. I think we know we're getting that guy. That guy's probably going to be like a 75 hitting depth with those 3A. So that's the value there. We're going to wait and see. Maybe even reach for him a little bit, 3rd round, depending on how the board falls. Then everything kind of shifts to the defensive side of the ball. Looking at safety, not really a whole lot of guys that I've fallen in love with. We are also kind of blind picking here, which makes it that much more difficult. You know, Greer, because he has good tackling and not brutal coverage. But again, that's something you maybe would like to target at the end of the 2nd round. So we shift towards the defensive line. And looking for the outside players, yeah, you know, you almost kind of hope that someone's fallen a little bit. This guy, Chris Mann, looks pretty good, but not the style of player that we're looking for. We did scout a D-tackle, look pretty solid. Andrew Keaton has A power, B finesse, B tackle, and he's 285, so he might be able to play a little defensive end for us. 4'8", has elite. The bench press is good. That's a hell of a pick. He might be the big dog here. Look at the rest of the defensive ends. Don Metcalf, not a scheme fit. We have Townsend, not a scheme fit. We have Sharif Price, who I did scout 2nd, 3rd round. Looked like the best day 2 pass rusher. 6'5", 270 out of Auburn. A tackle, B power. C finesse, C block set. Combine also pretty good. I mean, that D tackle. There might be something there. 6'5", 285. I can play defensive end. We got to go with this guy. Let's go. I'm going to be aggressive here. We're going to offer Harrington, who's on a 1-year deal at D-tackle. I think we keep Keaton at D-tackle. Price, the other D-tackle, looks pretty solid. He's still on the board. His combine was good enough to me. Maybe there's a dev trait there. I want to try to chase it. So we're going to trade up in the 2nd round to pick 10 in the 2nd round. It costs us a 4th, 5th, 7th, and starting D-tackle. Honestly, I'm looking at my draft board. I got Price at DN, and I got that running back. And I'll be able to get that running back, I think, in the 3rd round. So we'll go Price here. Oh, we got the dev trait. Let's go. We'll grab that running back and hopefully make out of this draft like bandits. Let's go. I appreciate the rest of the leagues is leaving clearly the best running back available to us. Let's go. And looking at a draft recap, feel pretty good about all that. Keaton, 76 hidden dev. It's got to be a day 1 starter for us at D-tackle. Price, we're aggressive and go and get the ratings. Not crazy, maybe for the price that we paid, but to get a swing at a hidden dev pass rusher who is also going to start for us. So even if it's only a star dev, great opportunity for him and or Keaton to play a lot and get that defensive rookie of the year bump. I will take it. And then DeBose, 74 hidden dev successor plan at running back. All right, I will say now that we're in year 8, 6-1, tied with Dallas for first place in the NFC East, but this is the year. We've had all that success, all the Super Bowls. When was it going to catch up to us? I didn't even project that it was going to happen now, but I go look at the contracts, try to re-sign some players, and we're $42 million in the red. And you know what? I think the biggest thing, the saddest thing, is that this might be the last year, Jason. I can't afford to keep him. So we close out year 8, the same. I mean, it's been kind of copy and paste, but you can definitely see by looking at the state of our salary cap that this is definitely going to be the last year that we are this good. But But we will appreciate the fact that we were better than the Cowboys. We were better than the Commanders, who both had really good seasons. We finished number 2 offense, number 3 defense. Not the strongest year from Jalen Hurts. Still, though, makes the short list for MVP. And our only award winner goes to Sharif Price. Man, we traded up for in the second round. Keaton coming in the top 3 as well, which is cool to see for our 2 top picks. Statistically speaking, Jalen Hurts, 3,900 yards, 26 touchdowns, 5 picks. Ain't great, ain't bad. We had a good 1-2 punch here. Vaughn, 1,100 yards, 14 touchdowns. Jalen with 5 and 3. 16 for DeBose. How did he not get more? I mean, the yards aren't great, but definitely thought he'd have a little bit more shout for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Devontae Smith, ageless wonder, 85 catches, almost 1,400 yards, 11 touchdowns. The rest of the wide receiver room was just okay. Jeremiah Trotter, the Axeman, 160 tackles. That might be the most we've seen. It's kind of been led by, Devin White for most of this rebuild. I don't know if he ever hit 160. Sacks look all right. Evan Michaels, 16 TFLs, 13 sacks, 12 from Jalen Carter, 9 from Sharif Price, 6 from Keaton. And Michaels has joined the 99 Club. Congratulations. We have Jalen Carter. We have Sharif Price, who was hidden dev. He popped superstar dev, trading up for a superstar dev pass rusher in the second round. And he won Defensive Rookie of the Year. Keaton, our original first round, just a star dev, but I'm not going to be too upset about that. Look at the interceptions. Cooper DeJean lead the team with 4. So our playoff run starts against the Dallas Cowboys, who a top 5 offense. Defense, nothing to write home about. Micah Parsons still there, kind of leading the line. Oh, you know what? We've owned anytime we've met any NFC East opponent in the playoffs. We have owned them. Absolutely owned them through 7.5 years. I guess we were due. As we fall 30-24 in what could be our last big shot at another Super Bowl to kind of continue to run the score up. Oh no, I was hoping Jason Kelce retired so it wouldn't be messy. Goddamn, CJ retires after 13 seasons. Dak's gone. But Jason Kelce's still going strong. So if this was, say, going into year 10, I would just restructure a bunch of contracts to get under and maybe even try to extend Macklin, 89 wide receiver. Avon, our starting running back. Manley, who just went up superstar dev at linebacker. Moody's a starting player for us. The great. I have to find a way to make this work. I mean, I don't think anyone's going to sign him. But, damn. And I'm going through my roster. I do not know how this is adding up. How that we are $30 million in the red. We do not have an expensive roster. Our top end is expensive, sure, but it's nothing unrealistic. I don't know how to fix this. And I'm going to be honest. I mean, I looked at it. I'm trying to there has to be a reason why. And the reason is essentially we are in the final year of almost all of our big contracts. Final year, DeJean, Carter, Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, Quinyon Mitchell, Jeremiah Trotter, and it's just the year that they all have just insane salary. And honestly, you want to know my approach right now? I'm just going to keep simming until it says I can't. Because if we have to get rid, it's going to be like, I might have to get rid of Devontae and Jalen Hurts to play if they say you got to get your books. Like, hopefully they give us a year. Give me 1 year, and I think we can fix this. And hopefully Jason Kelce is still on the free agency market as a 58 center. We can bring him back. All right, so looking at BPA here, it's probably Anthony Westerman. A-Press B-Man, B-Zone, 6'4", 4'3" speed. God damn it, you asshole. Well, the good news, I did focus scout wide receivers, and the one that I want is still available. Nicholas Hargrove, A deep route running, B release, B catch in traffic. Not the deep threat that I love, not the guy that's, pushing to break the combine record, but still athletic enough. And man, oh man, this is delete this offseason. Looking at our draft recap, I mean, the ratings aren't bad. We got Ziegler here at Oregon, a little bit of a Chip Kelly pick, but of course, normal dev for the wide receiver 73, normal dev for the 77 corner. Our salary cap's gone down a little bit, but I don't know if the game's going to let me keep going. I don't know if the league offices are going to storm in and say, you got to get your books in order. All right, they're letting us go and start the season. So outside of Jason Kelce, who's still wandering out there in the universe of football, yeah. We're able to keep on keeping on here as best we can. Obviously, we're taking step backs on both sides of the ball. Holy, Price was superstar. What happened? What happened here? Defensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, loses superstar, loses star dev. Are you fucking like the... We have not had any adversity, and then it's all coming at the end of this rebuild at once. That is unbelievable. Is that the bug karma that I gotta pay for Jason Kelce playing till he's 45 years old? I mean, I'll make that trade-off every day of the week, but come on. That same adversity, creep it up. At least everyone's kind of average in the NFC, so us with a very slow 3-3 start by our own standards. Luckily, we're not, we're only a game back in the division. And this is why we just need to hold on. It looked weird, it looked bad because we were in the final year of a lot of contracts. Now we have so much money. Wait a minute. Okay, he's still in it. I don't have that money. That's future money. I'll tell you the first thing we're doing this offseason. All right, so we're going to start 3 years, $74 million for Devontae Smith. You got to finish this rebuild with the Eagles. We're going to do the same with Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Got to do it. And Cooper DeJean. Got to do it. And Quinyon Mitchell. Got to do it. We got Jalen Carter on a 2-year deal. And the odd man out, we are going to come back for Jalen Hurts, who wants an absurd 1-year, like $60 million deal. Is Michaels the United X Factor? If this was a longer rebuild, I would. But the fact there's only 1 year left, I gotta go with the boys. All right, actually, I got a little bit of a sneaky plan that might work. I don't know if it will. We finished the year 11-6, second in the NFC East, enough to get into the playoffs. You look at our rankings, it's not the best, but hey, we got a ticket. What I'm thinking contract-wise right now is maybe we franchise tagged. Is it franchise tag for Jalen Hurts going to be less than $60 million? Because that's what it's probably going to cost. So I wonder if we could franchise Jalen Hurts. I'm going to assume it's like 40. That could be a wildly wrong guess because we are this far in the future. But say it's 40, we save that extra $20 million, and we can keep Michaels. And we get Jalen Hurts just on a 1-year deal to kind of close this rebuild out. That's my line of thinking. However, if the franchise tag for the quarterback is like $70-some million or something just unrealistically stupid, we could have some trouble. Would you believe our only award winner is the X Factor 99 pass rusher we decided not to pay? Jalen Hurts is not crushing it. Like, there is a scenario here, I guess, where we can let... There's no way. We can't let Jalen Hurts walk. I mean, we could. We have a 300-pound quarterback, and then we could pay our edge rusher. But, I mean, Jalen is not playing, taking the game over type football, unfortunately. Devontae Smith goes over 1,000 yards, which you love to see defensively. Axeman over 100. 25.5 sacks for Michaels. 14 for Jalen Carter. Oh, my God. Why? Why do I got to make these calls? All right, just in case things get weird, we'll do this again if we can finish year 10. But year 9, Jalen Hurts, don't know what's happening. 49,000 yards passing, 374 touchdowns, 61 picks. Also, we got 7,000 rushing yards, 80 rushing touchdowns for the 4-time MVP. So I'm thinking we gotta ride it out with Jalen Hurts, right? I mean, one more year, Devontae Smith's going to go for 1,000 receptions, 14,000 yards, 126 touchdowns. Incredible career. The Axeman closing in on 1,000 tackles. We got 24 picks for DeJean, 14 for Quinyon. We've accomplished a lot, but things could get a little muddy as we gear up and get into year 10, the final year of this rebuild. Oh, shit. We win in the first round. We handle the Rams 28-21. Kind of just felt like we're like, okay, hey, Jalen Hurts turning back the clock with a 3-touchdown offensive player of the week performance. Next up, we get the 12-5 Chicago Bears. Number 1 defense in the NFL. Can they find a way to stop Jalen Hurts? And we're going to use our veteran experience in this one. 28-14 with a Keaton 2-sack player of the week performance for our D-tackle too. And with a chance of an improbable Super Bowl run, while we're kind of at our lowest, it feels like, we got a chance here. If we can find a way to get past the 11-6 Atlanta Falcons. I mean, we got the best pass rusher in the league right now. You can usually rely on that a little bit. Unfortunately, that is an NFC Championship game loss, 26-20 to the Falcons, and it's Michaels, the man of the hour, 2 sacks, player of the week. But man, I gotta figure out a way to keep him and Jalen Hurts, and to get Kelce if he doesn't retire. No, it should have been with us. and Jake Elliott and Devin White. Ah, no. 43-year-old Jason Kelsey calls it quits. God damn. All right, so Jalen Hurts, we lowballed him purposely to see if we could franchise tag him. This franchise tag needs to come less than $55 million, and it's 79. Okay, I got a method to the madness here. We're going to re-sign him. I'm going to franchise tag you. And you know why? It's because last year they let me play in the red. So if I could just crawl while in the red salary cap just to close out year 10 of this rebuild, that's what we're going to fucking do. With our final first round pick of the rebuild, we need the best lineman possible. We need someone that can come in and compete at right tackle. And it might just be this center. We might just straight up draft a center and say, hey, get your ass out there at tackle. Because Mike McCormick here to Central Florida. This is our dog. This is our Jason Kelsey regen. Kelsey retires. And we get this guy. That was an absolute, that was a really good pick. 74. I thought, honestly, you get the Zays. You might be a little higher than a 74. Not saying he's going to be generational. I thought maybe not have a chance. Like a 76 or something like that. But Mike McCormick ends up being a pretty solid pick. We get Dalvin Jackson as our other 70-plus player. Head and dev at LSU. Is a scheme fit as well. Might have to play a little bit this season. But hopefully they let us just keep playing with no salary cap. That would be very much appreciated. All right, so the offense going into year 10. Final year. We're able to shuffle things around to make the offensive line make sense. The first-round pick, McCormick, is going to start, but the O-line is led by Roth, who's still to this day. He's gonna stack up as like the best value lineman I've ever drafted, and he has been as such. Devontae Smith, still an X factor, pretty much copy and paste. You're getting 1,300 yards out of him. An absolute monster. Jalen Hurts, looking for that 5th MVP. I don't know if it's gonna come. We're going to try our goddamn best to get it for what has gone down as the greatest rebuild on this channel in this format. And, maybe the wheels have fallen off enough. But look, we got Cooper DeJean playing his best football. Jeremiah Trotter Jr., like all these guys getting old, playing their best football. Jalen Carter playing his best football. We got Michaels. Had to do shady things with the salary cap, but we got it all to work. Even though we might not have, like, super hot dev traits at every position, this is still a strong team. And I absolutely think we're at least going to be able to buy a ticket and get into the playoffs to see if we can go on a run here in year 10. We close out year 10. It is an ugly NFC East, but at 9-8, we are NFC East champs for the 8th time in this rebuild. Look at our rankings. Offensively, pretty middle of the mall. Defensively, really damn good. And he's old, but you know what? Still making the MVP shortlist is Jalen Hurts. Just outside the top 10 in passing yards, 22 touchdowns, 4 picks. Decent rushing numbers, 500 yards, and another 6 touchdowns to his all-time stats. He boasts with a impressive, we'll love to see him get over 1,000, but 17 touchdowns, can't be mad at that. We had one award winner, but it's that dude, Evan Michaels again, who's pretty much taken over that Myles Garrett role of just shattering the sack record every year. And he's the face of one of the best defenses in football. Trotter with 115 tackles. We got 17 and a half sacks from Michaels. Not quite the 25 and a half he had a year before, but still pretty good. 9.5 Jalen Carter. 8 from Keaton. We got interceptions are pretty butt cheeks, but hey, at least DeJean and Mitchell get to add 1 to their career record. Where we can now look at the career stats. Final career stats through 10 seasons. 4 MVPs. Unlimited Super Bowls. 53,000 yards passing. 396 touchdowns. 65 interceptions to go along with 7,500 rushing yards and 86 rushing touchdowns for Jalen Hurts. First ballot Hall of Famer in the discussion for the GOAT. Let's be completely honest. Devontae Smith finishes our rebuild here with over 1,000 receptions, 15,000 yards, and 139 touchdowns. Would it be cool to see, A.J. Brown, all those guys, how they're still doing? That's kind of just where we're at. Jeremiah Trotter, 926 tackles, 46 TFLs, 9.5 sacks, 8 picks. We get 106 sacks for Jalen Carter on 156 TFLs, which is outstanding production for a defensive tackle. Michaels, through 5 seasons, 79 TFLs, 77 sacks. Pretty disgusting. And then we got 25 picks for Cooper DeJean. 15 from Quinyon Mitchell. Happy with those numbers as well. And we also need to give a shout out to Devontae Smith with his 139 touchdown receptions, putting him in the top 5 all time. So let's start this playoff run against Caleb Williams, the 10-7 Atlanta Falcons. Can this 9-8 Philadelphia Eagles team become the little engine that could and go on a run here? And we handle business in the first round against the Falcons. Jalen Hurts, 4 touchdowns. Jalen Carter, 3 sacks. Holy shit, Mahomes is still playing for the Jags. What? Ooh, this is a tricky one in the divisional round. A team we haven't played a lot, but a team that, since I've been a Philadelphia Eagle fan, have had the Eagles number are the Seattle Seahawks. They're 14-3. They're not as good. We're 92s across the board. We're probably the highest rated team, at least in the NFC. But we will show enough respect to Seattle here ahead of this matchup that we'll auto-upgrade our running back and our wide receiver to 1 point to get them extra prepared for a big-time matchup here, where we are definitely the underdogs on the road against the 12th man. Oh, that's how it ends. 20-7, the Eagles fall flat. Let's ignore the $46 million in the red and appreciate, through 10 years, likely a rebuild, success-wise, that we will never replicate. And if we do, I'm here for it. I'm not just trying to set this Eagles rebuild up on a pedestal that will never be touched. I want it to be broken. Ideally, won't be broken by a rival, a team that I hate. But now, this is the pace. This is what we're going to be chasing. And just what a freaking rebuild, man. Top to bottom. And I wish there was a way that we could have had Jason Kelce here for the full 10 years. But having Kelce play forever, having the Young Bucks, the key core players of this new Eagles that we have right now going into the 2024 season. You know, DeJean developed into a legend. Carter developed into a legend. Quinyon went the full rebuild. Maybe not legend status, same with Trotter, but a damn good player, justifying the draft pick and the hype around their name. Jalen Hurts goes down as arguably the best quarterback not named Tom Brady. Maybe even surpassed him with 4 MVPs, 5 Super Bowls. The stats to back it up. Devontae entering GOAT status. You know, drafted one of the best linemen to ever draft. I mean, just a lot of good, even though it might have got a little ugly the last couple of years. But that'll do it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. As always, your first time stopping by, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Smash the like button if you enjoyed. Let me know in the comment section below what team you want to see me rebuild next. Until next time, it's your boy C4 saying peace out. Love ya. Have a good one.